Let's get nasty on a Monday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Supposed to have Jamie Rivers on for the first hour of the show today. Having some technical difficulties there, but we got you covered. And Sonny Gray apparently is injured. Might as well start there.
Lovely
is right. Dan McLaughlin will join us soon, if not right now. Gentlemen, Dan's on. Poor Dan. I'm just gonna bring you behind the curtain. Like, you're not supposed to do this in radio. Don't talk about the issues, right? Like, just put on the damn show.
That's right.
But 2 seconds before we're supposed to come on, the air link for Jamie in his hotel apparently is not working. Dan, who just arrived because he wasn't supposed to be here until about 3 o'clock to help us fill the final 2 hours of the show. We're off early, by the way, because of Blues hockey. So 3 to 5. Dan was supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Now Dan's got to hey Dan, you're on now.
I'm ready. I'm always ready to help out whenever you need me.
I know you are.
I bet we get Jamie at some point.
Sure. All right, Sonny Gray, injured today. He left the game with the trainer. He was in the dugout. Apparently, he was getting hydrated. He was talking to the pitching coach. And the reports are that Danny suffered some sort of hamstring injury or he felt hamstring tightness. I don't know if they got we can speculate if he's going to be out for long or if it's only going to be a couple of days. If it's a hamstring pull, pulls tend to last a little while. They tend to because you use certain muscles, whether it's a hamstring or an ab muscle, you use your core, you use your legs all the time. So you think that the injury has healed, and then all of a sudden there's a setback. That's the problem with hamstrings. Is it an elbow? Is it a shoulder? No. Is it a huge concern? If it were an elbow or shoulder and guy's going to miss the entire year? No. But hamstrings tend to be a little tricky. So we can sit here and speculate that it's not a big deal, or we can sit here and speculate that it is a big deal. We're probably going to be wrong no matter what.
Yeah, I'd say the only concern I have with this, and you're right, hamstrings can be tricky. We don't know the severity of it, is how much does this push him back?
Right.
When you're in spring training, you're trying to build up. They were looking at 3, maybe 4 innings, squeeze it out of him today. Is that at this time of year, it pushes you back, and there's a timeline before opening day, and you're on a schedule to throw for opening day. We know he's going to be the opening day starter. That would be my concern, is that if it pushes him back, does he miss the next 5 days, throwing on the side, misses a start? Now you're 10 days, you start doing the math, and you say he's not going to be ready for opening day, and maybe you have a different opening day starter, but he's still on the active roster, and you have to push him back. Mm-hmm. Or it goes even further than that. So we won't know, but it's definitely a setback and one that you don't like to hear about.
No, not at all. Let's nix one thing. I could be wrong on this. This is just my prediction. There's no way in hell that the corresponding move here is to bring in Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell.
I wouldn't think.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. Who cares what I think? I'm saying the Cardinals are not going to do that. This is the most risk-averse team in baseball, if not in all of sports. They are not reactionary. Believe in what they do, not what they say. And what they have done under John Mozeliak over the last, 15 years, 18 years, whatever it's been for Mo?
I think he's been here since the early 2000s in some capacity.
Been a long time. Since he's been at least the GM or the president. Their behavior has operated as such as a team that is not going to be reactionary.
Especially with what they have and what they believe in, which is Thompson, Liberatore. These are guys, and I get it. It's not Jordan Montgomery. It's not Blake Snell. But you don't get reactionary until they said, oh, this guy blew out his elbow. Right. Or his season is done because of his shoulder. It's just not what they do, to your point. And I also think that they believe that one of these guys is going to take the ball, lack of a better term, and run with it. And I'm excited about Zach Thompson. I'm going to be really curious about Matz's spring training. And I'm not saying that Steven Matz would come out and all of a sudden be in the bullpen, and Zach Thompson, who I've been a big believer in, even when he wasn't pitching well in the minor leagues last year. I'm not saying that they don't start Matz in the rotation, but you you do have a guy nipping at your heels. And so that goes to the point of depth in what they feel that they have. This isn't me talking. This is me saying this is how I think they feel. And so there's a difference between the two. And I think they feel like, okay, they have it covered. And, the other thing, too, is when you have an issue like this, it's warm down in spring training. Sonny's the kind of guy that sweats a lot, that they probably, the first sign of anything he had to do with his hamstring or a knee or whatever, he's taking himself out. So you look for the worst and hope for the best, and I bet it leans probably towards the best in this situation because it's early in spring and you don't want to push it. Yeah, that's probably the reality of it.
I just feel like we're back to the exact same spot we were last year. Like, it just feels like it's the same rotation, just a bunch of different names. Like, I'm not excited about it at all.
I don't blame you. I'm the same way.
I'm not excited whatsoever. And I know, Thompson is okay. Like, he's been doing fine, but, like, he just doesn't, I don't get up for it. Like, I'm not excited about it. The Sonny Gray injury, whatever's going on, that definitely doesn't make me excited for the season. Yeah. I don't know what this team's going to do from a rotation standpoint.
Yeah, I was happy that they signed Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
If you look at the whole picture, am I excited about the team? No. I'm not excited about the pitching staff.
I'm excited about the bullpen. I think the bullpen's got a chance to be really good.
I agree.
But the rotation with the age in it, that would be my massive concern going into the season, which was the concern at the back end of last year. Yeah, I'm concerned about it. Age, ineffectiveness by a couple of guys a year ago. Can Sonny Gray match up with others number ones? Probably not. Is he going to be like a 1A? Yeah, I look at him as a 1A and give you a good chance to win. And you're also relying on age in your lineup to come through. So there's question marks with this team. But, man, today is not good news if you're a Cardinal fan and hearing that. Again, it could be just, felt a little twinge in my hamstring. It's a hot day and I'm coming out.
Right.
Totally get it. But the other part of it is if it's not and it pushes him back, then that's a concern when time is of the essence in spring training and you're trying to get guys ready.
Exactly. Will their depth be tested early on? Let's hope not. Will their depth be tested at some point during the season? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Because of the age of the rotation. Just going back real quickly, Dan, to the not excited part of it. I think it's because when there's excitement, there's a ceiling. There's no ceiling, I should say. When there is the feeling of, I know what a player is, and that player is unlikely to be not even a superstar, but just have this unbelievable season, that's where that's where the excitement gets capped for me. Like, I know what Lance Lynn is. I even know what Sonny Gray is. Sonny Gray's it's good. You have to have him this season. But I know what Sonny Gray is. I know what Lance Lynn is. I know what Miles Michael is. Despite the roller coaster last year, I know what he is. Gibson. I know what Kyle Gibson is. Yep. I know what Steven Matz is, if healthy. If he's not healthy, that's where the unknown comes in. But when we're just talking about the starting rotation, there is nothing there where I'm like, damn, I can't wait to see this kid pitch.
Would it flip the way that you think, though, if you had these guys go, let's say 5-6 innings, you'd like to see longer than that. Yeah. But you feel like, okay, my bullpen, though, is exceptional. And I do think they have some arms, some shutdown arms. Now, do I think that's the recipe that you want for the entire season? No, you're going to need some extended starts. But do you feel a little better about it because you know that you have some concrete guys that have done it before in your bullpen? Does that make you feel any better?
If the bullpen is, and I'll use your word, if the bullpen is exceptional, yes, that changes things.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're exceptional at something, like we show up at the ballpark or we tune in and you're exceptional at something, like, hey, get to the 6th inning like the Royals were for a couple of years.
That's right.
You get to the 6th inning, 7th inning, you're going to win this game. Good luck facing our bullpen. That gets me excited.
Cardinals had that like in 12 and 13. Their bullpen
was that like Segrist and Manus, and
you had some pretty good ones.
1-0. Is that, do I have the right time?
Someone was a little bit after that. Carlos Martinez.
Okay.
I mean, you had some lightning coming out of that bullpen.
Yeah.
Trevor Rosenthal.
Yeah.
You felt pretty good about it, that if you had a lead, let's say in the 6th or the 7th, you felt pretty good about winning some games. You're going to blow some, but you felt pretty good. You're not going to blow as many as they did a year ago. But, going back to the Sonny Gray thing, if you're a Cardinal fan, you're just saying, okay, I hope it's a twinge in the hamstring, and he's just being overly cautious and very smart about this, and it's not a big deal. That could be the case. We'll find out, but it's not good news.
It's not. No, it's not positive news. That's true. That's Dan McLaughlin. I'm Anthony Stalter. We're going to let Dan prep up for the show a little bit here.
Is Jamie on?
Jamie's on. We got Jamie
Hey,
now live
Jamie.
from his hotel. So Jamie's going to be with us for the next 3 segments. Then Dan will return at 3 o'clock.
I used my best stuff.
You did a great job.
Came in with no hamstring twinge. Came in with my best stuff.
Now-
Had a real sharp slider going. It was great.
Dan, for the next 45 minutes, we're going to need you to
Careful
rest up.
leaving the studio,
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, yep. Careful leaving the studio.
Thank you.
45 minutes. Then you come back in, and we're going to need you well rested. All right, Jamie Rivers will break down the Blues' victory over the weekend and talk a little other news and notes with Jamie next on 101 ESPN.
Dirt Cheap, your one-stop shop for all things that you need for your parties or your get-togethers or anything that you've got going on. Maybe you just want to have a nice, quiet evening in the backyard, stoke up the fire pit, enjoy one of the beers that is available over at Dirt Cheap. They have wines, and they've got all the best spirits available as well. And here's the one thing I tell everybody is that it's not, the name Dirt Cheap is about the prices. Has nothing to do with the selection. The selection is top end. I go to Dirt Cheap and get all of my favorite bourbons. I get Elijah Craig. I get Angel's Envy. Every now and then I'm lucky and I get a Blanton's over there, and none of it is overpriced. And right now, too, with spring here in March and St. Patty's Day and all that stuff coming, they've got special pricing on select sizes of Crown Royal, Captain Morgan, Jameson, Bailey's, of course, Kendall Jackson Chardonnay, and Black Box Premium Wines. You're not going to want to miss any of those things available over at Dirt Cheap. Don't forget to download the app. It's simple. It's easy to use. More savings available over there. They also have the order ahead on the app where you can place your order, go pick it up, or you can have it delivered to your home. Dirt Cheap is my only spot where I go to get my spirits. It should be yours as well. So please remember, people, have fun out there, but be careful. E&B Granite, they have over 2 decades of family-owned, operated, trusted in the community in St. Louis. They are here to remodel your kitchens, your bathrooms, and now your outdoor spaces as well. I had my kitchen redone with E&B Granite. The process was awesome. It was so easy. I went down to the showroom at 6135 Manchester Avenue, walked in, talked to the sales representative. We sat down and put down some ideas. She showed me a bunch of options and then showed me the massive inventory of custom countertops in the back. And that was great. There's granite, there was soapstone. I settled with quartz. I had no idea I was going to do that, but I loved it. And then the process from there was really easy. The technicians get in, they remove all your old stuff. They install the new cabinets, the new countertops, the flooring, whatever it is that you're having done by E&B Granite. You're absolutely going to love it. So please give them a call. Book appointment in advance. That number's 314-645-9300. And you can always visit them at enbgranite.com.
Rivers live from his hotel room in Philadelphia. We got the Blues and the Flyers tonight. And Jamie, first of all, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Blues get it done against the Wilds on Saturday, 3-1. Kind of a slow-ish game. Jordan Binnington, though, was an absolute stud again. No surprise there that when Binnington's a stud, the Blues play well. If he's less than, or if the defense is less than, and a couple sneak by Binnington, not his fault, then the Blues have a good chance of losing that game. That's just the Blues.
I don't like your attitude.
That's the Blues these days. What else?
I don't like your attitude at all right now, Anthony. Quite honestly.
But before we move forward here, what else did you see on Saturday afternoon, evening?
Well, look, I saw a team that showed up to compete. It wasn't, as they say, it wasn't a Picasso by any means. Even Drew Bannister was talking about it after. He said, look, there's a lot of stuff we could clean up and could have done better, but you won a big hockey game. Like, unfortunately, in the last little while, the Blues have lost those games. The games are, this is a big game, and they show up flat, or it takes them too long to get going. If nothing else, at least they started on time against the Wild on Saturday, and the second period ended up being a good period for them. The first part of the second period was tough. I thought the Wild had the advantage, and Jordan Binnington, of course, stands tall in between the pipes and does a hell of a job. And he gets you to the point where you can now put your offense together and try to go score some goals. And you get one on the power play. Jake Neighbors, right in the blue paint. Shocker how that works, right? Imagine that. The kid's he's 21 years old. He's got it figured out. There's guys that are 30 that can't figure it out yet. Just saying. But yeah, you get a great power play goal by Jake Neighbors, and then you're able to shut it down in the third period, and you get the insurance goal. So, although it may not have been the work of art that everybody wanted or whatever, it ended up being a big win on home ice against an opponent that you had to beat.
Yeah, definitely. So now you can turn the page here and you match up against Philadelphia. But where they are right now in the standings, if we're going to look at the wild card picture, heading into tonight's action, you right now are sitting at 65 points, same as Calgary, but unfortunately you're 7 points behind Nashville right now. We keep talking about we'll have a clear picture about the deadline, the NHL deadline, trade deadline, with the more games that they play. So if you were to take stock with where the Blues are right now, given what they have ahead of the deadline, Jamie, how would you assess the situation?
Look, at this point, I think that Doug Armstrong literally has plan A and plan B. And I think maybe before there were C and D, depending on where you were in the standings. But I think that if Army's already decided that he's going to move on from Pavel Buchnevich, doesn't matter how many games you win this week, that deal's still going to happen. It's just the way it is. That's just business. But look, if I'm the Blues, I'm not worried about the standings. Like, honestly, I'd take the standings off the wall and tell the guys, don't even look at those things, because the standings are irrelevant unless you're winning.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're 7 points out right now. If you're losing games, what the hell you need to look at the standings for?
Mm-hmm.
Don't bother. So I think that each game has to be, something within itself that you're trying to obviously win the game and keep going. For me, the next 3 games are huge. They're very winnable games, too. Like, you're playing a Philadelphia team that work extremely hard. They're playing above the expectations of what everybody had for them this season. They're also missing their top forward in Travis Konechny. He's out. He won't be playing tonight. So it gives you a little more of an opportunity there to not worry about that guy. But that's a winnable game. The Islanders, you played them not too long ago at home here. So that's a very winnable game as well. And then the Devils have not been good recently. Mm-hmm. So if the Blues go into the trade deadline, having put together 3 wins in a row on the road, I think that Army has to take a look then at the standings and then at what he's got for his roster and kind of go from there. But for me, the main thing with this team is you kind of have to ignore any of the noise surrounding the deadline. You have to ignore the standings. And you have to just try and put your A game together, because that's really been the biggest obstacle for 2 seasons now, or a season and a half, or wherever we're at here, that you can't play consistent hockey.
Yeah.
And at some point, that falls on the players. We talk about, well, it's the roster. Well, yeah, okay, it's the roster, but this is what you've got. Mm-hmm. So those guys are going to have to start, bringing consistency. And if they're tired of talking about it, then you have to try and change it as well.
Right. Can they change it?
Well, that's the biggest thing. I think that if nothing else, at least this group has proven that they can change a lot from what they did last year. Meaning, like, this team is better than it was last year. In many ways, they have bigger pockets of consistency than the team last year did. And certainly those are steps forward. If you look at just everything, you're talking to some of the players, they feel like the systems that they're playing now help them more as a group. They believe in what they're doing. Obviously, the power play, they've figured some things out there. They're one of the hottest power plays in the NHL here in the last little while. Scoring a goal almost every game for the last 11 or 12 games or something like that right now. So that helps your club as well. And you've got Jordan Binnington, who's been sensational. I mean, quite honestly, if I'm any team right now that's a contender, I'm probably calling Doug Armstrong and asking him about Jordan Binnington. What would it take, Doug? Because look at any of those teams that are like maybe teams, but they got back, like Toronto Maple Leafs, for one example. Can you imagine what they would give up to get a Jordan Binnington? And I'm not suggesting you trade him, because without Binnington, this is no longer a retool.
Right.
This is a tear it down to it's a tear it down to the studs and let's start over again.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that, but I'm just telling you that there's a lot of things. There are a certain number of things that are positive still about this club, and I feel like it's made some progress.
Just a couple of minutes here. So Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic, of course, our guy JR, he put together an article with I believe the Oilers beat writer as well for the Athletic, saying, are the Oilers and Pavel Buchnevich trade match, breaking down the fit, potential return, and more. Did you have an opportunity to look at that, Jamie? I don't want to put you on the spot. Start talking about it before you have it.
I haven't looked at it. I don't know if it's the old player in me or whatnot, but I don't put anything into these articles. And that's nothing against JR. It's just everybody at this time of year is just spitballing.
Sure.
And they fabricate these trades, and they don't necessarily know all the pieces that are attached to it, the dollar value, the retention of salary, a third team involved. Like, there's just a lot that has to be unpacked. So I don't pressure my brain to try and do all that.
Yeah, all right, makes sense.
As it gets closer, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, so we'll break it down if it does happen. That's been the big topic of conversation, whether or not Pavel Buchnevich will be traded. We'll find out soon enough. With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 5 o'clock pregame tonight between the Blues and the Flyers, so we're only on until 5 o'clock today. We also have the game, of course, on the Blues Radio Network right here at 6 o'clock. Blues take on the Flyers. With Jamie Rivers for the next 2 segments, I'm Anthony Stalter. Dan and I discussed Sonny Gray and the injury. We don't know if it's serious or not. He's got a tight hamstring. He was pulled out of today's spring training game. Don't know if it's serious or not. If Gray is injured for an extended period of time, though, what's the next move? A lot of people.
Blake Snell.
A lot of people might be screaming into their radios right now. Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell. I don't think that's going to happen. So what's realistic? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, where buying a vehicle is more than just a price tag. I can tell you that. From the moment you walk into the showroom till you drive off the lot with your brand new or pre-owned vehicle, the Johnny Londoff Chevrolet team is going to treat you like family. How do I know this? Because they have treated me like family for over 25 years. And just 2 weeks ago, my son bought his very first brand new car from Londoff Chevrolet, and it was awesome. The way they walked him through the process, explained things to him, showed him where the savings were, to the actual driving off the lot, showing him how the vehicle worked, everything. It was awesome. It made me feel so comfortable that Londoff Chevrolet was taking care of my kid and that he's buying a Londoff Chevrolet car. And there's a Chevy Trax. Great little vehicle, great price on those, really nice interior. You're going to absolutely love the Chevy Trax if you're looking for a smaller SUV. So please, if you want that kind of family treatment from your dealership, head over to Londoff Chevrolet, the original one in Florissant, Missouri, or the brand new Autoplex located out in St. Peters. They're some of the best people in the business, and they're going to take care of you. I promise you that. So please get there in person or get there online. Visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
Gloria Liu, she is the best in the business, and Gloria's name is her promise, and that says it all. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria has mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or she will buy it herself. Guaranteed. Does your agent do that? Probably not. Gloria has solutions too for every type of home seller. How about sellers who want a fast sale with no hassles? Gloria's multiple cash offer program is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer to choose from in minutes. Gloria is confident about all of these options because she has the buyers. Yeah, she has thousands of ready buyers in her database that she has developed over 20 years in that database as well. So if you're looking to sell your home anytime soon, call the best in the business. Call Gloria Liu. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. Her number's 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Remember, conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the price and possession date.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues defeated the Wild over the weekend by a final of 3-1. They'll take on the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Pregame starts at 5. Puck drop is at 6. And we'll have all the coverage for you right here on 101 ESPN. City SC defeated New York City FC 2-0 over the weekend. So City SC picks up a victory. However, your St. Louis Cardinals lost today to the Washington Nationals 1-0. Sonny Gray left the game with a hamstring injury. We're going to talk more about that coming up next, so stay tuned. Once again, Cards lose 1-0. Blues are in action tonight. City SC, they get the job done over the weekend as well. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this SportsCenter update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
With Jamie Rivers and Anthony Stalter, it's a Fastline on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis will be back with us tomorrow, taking some time off. Jamie, I don't think you could have put together a worse spring training start for a team coming off a historically bad season a year ago.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, let's get into it. Glad you asked. So Sonny Gray was removed from today's game with right hamstring tightness. According to Derek Gould of STLtoday.com, who tweeted this out about an hour ago, he said Sonny Gray left abruptly with the hamstring soreness. He being Sonny Gray, declined to speak with the media following his departure, telling a Cardinals official he'd prefer to know more about the tightness before commenting, which is smart. You don't know what you're dealing with. Let a trained professional take a look at it for you, right? Maybe you speak to the media tomorrow. You have a team representative speak to the media. You just worry about your hamstring. So at this point, we don't know how serious it is. We can sit here and play trainer, play doctor, and say he's going to be out this much or that much. But the bottom line is we don't know. As Derek also points out, he goes, meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Cardinals have scored 5 runs in their past 40 innings. I know it's spring training, Jamie. I don't really care about spring stats. You don't know which veterans are just purely working on things that they wanted to work on. Everybody kind of stays in shape year-round, so it's not a situation where it's like, oh, these guys are just getting in shape. It's more about tinkering with maybe a pitch or a new swing, or maybe you switched up your footwork when it came to bat. To take spring training statistics face value is just dumb. But that's not good. You have scored 5 runs in their past 40 innings, following, again, a historically bad season a year ago. I don't feel great about our Redbirds right now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no. So let's walk through this, okay? Hand in hand here.
Yeah, interlocking. Yep. Got
always. And so the other teams are pitching not necessarily all aces, right?
Right. Yeah. You also have veterans that are working on stuff on other teams.
Yeah, and you still, to my knowledge, the Cardinals hadn't hit a home run yet.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Well placed, well played. Dude, come on. You're Nolan Gorman, you're Jordan Walker, you're Lars Nootbaar. You're not trying to go yard, bull spit on that one. This is terrible. It's an awful look. I know it's spring training, and I'm not trying to get all fired up, but like, on the pitching side is one thing because you have some pitchers that are trying out new pitches or whatever. They're looking at something, and they only pitch for an inning, maybe 2 innings, whatever. Mm-hmm. But against some of these pitchers that you're facing, it's almost batting practice.
Right.
And they got nothing. No juice, nothing. Like, that's all of them.
Yeah. Nobody's made a mistake. No opposing pitcher. No guy that, to use a major league quote, no guy that it will be bagging groceries in about a week hung you a slider? No, really?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, and you can work on anything you want to work on. Great. Don't tell me that you're not working on hitting a home run. Don't tell me that you're not working on trying to score runs. That's impossible.
Even if you're not working on it, just run into one.
But that's even the young guys on your roster, your guys who are, for lack of better terms, you're nobodies yet. They're definitely trying hard to hit the ball.
They're working on their iron game.
Yeah. Somebody,
heaven forbid they have fun.
Somebody was going to say it. I'm glad it was you, Marsh. Not that other Cardinals fans haven't said it. But getting back to Sonny Gray. So again, we don't know the severity of the injury. I will say this though: if he's out for an extended period of time, I'll go back to what I said before. if you don't want to be aggressive in the offseason when it comes to adding free agents, or you're not going to be aggressive on the trade market, fine. People are going to be ticked off at that, but fine. You better hit on your internal options then. You can't go to the table and say, injuries are unpredictable, and boy, it's just it's our time now, and unfortunately, it's just part of the game. No. Because if you're not going to be aggressive in the offseason adding externally, Jamie, then you better be aggressive or know what the hell, not aggressive. You better know what the hell you're doing internally. You better have internal options that are on the cusp of joining the big league team that you can count on. This is a situation that is inexcusable. I know it's an injury. Again, if it's a severe injury, what is your plan B? And it's not going to be Montgomery or Blake Snell. If this team was set out to sign one of those guys, they'd already be a Cardinal. They're not going to sign Sonny Gray or Jordan Montgomery. This is not a reactionary front office. The only time I've seen them be reactionary was when Lance Lynn suffered the season-ending Tommy John injury, and they signed Mike Leake for about $85 million. And I'm sure they throw up consistently thinking about that deal. That was the last time they were reactionary, and it took them a while to sign Leake. It wasn't like it happened right away.
Yeah, so you don't think, Anthony, that there's a chance that the Leopard changes its spots just once because because of how bad last year was, and they had some injury problems early on in the rotation, and I mean the Cardinals were out of it. 1 month into the season, there was no chance for them. So, I don't know. I look at a Blake Snell, and a bit of a pipe dream for sure. I get it, but I look at that and go, what if you offered him like 2 years at $50 million?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is your risk? I don't know if he'd take it. I have no idea.
Sure.
I have no idea. But, why not?
Dude, I'm with you.
And then if Sonny Gray's fine, then great. Now you've got two legit number ones. Some consider Snell to be even an ace.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm on the fence with that. I think he's very much along the same lines as Sonny Gray. But, I don't know. Do you think they could ever wrap their brains around something like that?
I don't think they would. They will, Jamie, but I would. You don't have a team yet, Blake Snell. You don't have a team yet, Jordan Montgomery. This might not be your first choice. Okay. 2-year deal with an option for the second year, and it's your option. Do the Carlos Rodon thing. The Giants gave Rodon a 2-year deal. He pitched very well. He opted out. Okay. Got his big deal with the Yankees after that. Now, I know it's not apples to apples. I think Rodon's a couple years younger and all that. But just put that aside. That was early in the offseason. That was early in free agency. You now are in, week 2 of spring training? Blake, Jordan, 2-year deal, second year is your option. And we're going to pay you more than what you thought you were going to make annually. But it's only going to be for 2 years. You shove for us for a year, you can opt out, take another bite of the apple next year. We're gonna compensate you, though. We're going to pay you more per year than what you're going to get elsewhere, but it's only going to be a 2-year deal. And again, that second year is going to be your option. I would do that.
I don't see how he says no.
Unless he's got a better offer, why would you?
But if he had it, wouldn't he have taken it?
Yes. Yes. So, going back to it, would I do that? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. Do I think the Cardinals are going to do that? Unequivocally, no. I'm going to say it again, too, because I want to make sure that our listeners hear this. Because you like to cherry pick sometimes, and you know who you are. I'm going to say it again. I would sign Snell or Montgomery, 2-year deal, pay more, opt out for the second year, and it's the player's option. That's what I would do, Anthony Stalter. What do I think John Mozeliak and the Cardinals will do? Absolutely friggin' nothing. Had to say it twice, Jamie. Want to make sure everybody heard it.
It was even funnier the second time.
All right, Jamie's keys to the game. First goal of the game next. Head of the Blues and Flyers tonight here on 101 ESPN.
Elevate your performance right now with Pure Performance, who are your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. Look, winter is gone. It's gone, at least hopefully. Spring is here, and you're going to want to accessorize your vehicle. And the best person to do that is Pure Performance. First of all, they have so many unbelievable options. You can stop by the 25,000 square foot facility, just located in St. Peter's, right off of Highway 70. It's just an amazing complex. You walk in, you ask for Shelby. Tell Shelby that Jamie Rivers sent you, and she's going to ask you what kind of vehicle you have. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a Jeep, could be a Bronco, could be an SUV, a pickup truck like mine, or even a minivan. And they've got you completely covered over there at Pure Performance. And it's not just oversized tires and off-road stuff. No, they do everything. They have any kind of tire you want, any kind of wheel, and it's a full-service garage as well. So if there's anything else you need while you're there, they can handle it. Like, so for myself, in about a week, I'm headed in there. I'm getting a tonneau cover put on the back of my truck. At the same time, I'm going to have them look at my tires and give me an oil change. And I can do that all at Pure Performance, and you can too. So again, please stop by in person. And if you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com. Fellas, are you using ED meds? Well, if you are and you're not getting them from the medicine shop in St. Charles, you're probably paying too much for your ED meds. Head over to the medicine shop in St. Charles, your destination for cheap ED meds. They've got the generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Again, that's Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Prescription is required. And if for some reason you can't get to the pharmacy on a regular basis to pick up medicines or prescriptions, they've got you covered. Free discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace. All of that available by the medicine shop in St. Charles. It's a great program. I use it all the time, especially with my busy schedule and travel and all that stuff. But when I do need something, I get in there in person because they are awesome. The customer service is fantastic. I call them my pharmacy family over there at the medicine shop in St. Charles. They just do a great job, and they always take care of everyone who comes through those doors. So please visit them. You won't be sorry. And if you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
Tonight, we got Blues hockey, Blues and Flyers. 6 o'clock, the puck will drop. 5 o'clock will be the pregame show here on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie, your keys to victory tonight for the Blues.
Obviously, the number one thing is it's been consistent for me is a good start. This team, the Blues team, all season has caused themselves problems at different points when they don't have a good start, when they're not ready to go in the first period. So you look at the gauntlet of games on the road here. If I'm Drew Bannister and I'm the leadership group, I'm making sure that my team's ready to go at puck drop. So get your game going early. Second one is turnovers. Limit the turnovers, because the Flyers, if we learn nothing at all from the last game, we did learn that they love to transition. They move that puck north in a hurry. They're looking for breakaways or looking for instant offense. So you got to make sure that you're not turning the puck over at the blue lines or even at center ice. Last one is, not last one, I got a couple more. The next one is defending in front of your net. The Flyers are a lot like the Florida Panthers. Every time anybody gets the puck, boom, you get one or two guys to the front of the net and they're ready to battle all the time, and they generate a lot of pucks to the net. So the defense are going to have to do a good job of boxing out in front and making sure that the second or third opportunities aren't there. Jordan Binnington's going to have to do a good job of limiting bad rebounds. Goalies can't help it. There will be some shots that come in hot, and you're going to have to make a save without being able to freeze the puck. But you have to make sure you put that puck into a non-dangerous area on the ice, which is usually towards the corners, not kicking it right back out Broadway there, where they can come down and get a nice opportunity after that. I think physicality is big. This Flyers team is a physical team. They're going to test you, and I think you got to push back. Doesn't mean dropping the gloves and fighting, because they've got guys like Delorier and Sellers on Luke Seller on defense. I mean, those guys are tough. Don't waste your time throwing down the mitts, but hit them, frustrate them, make those guys take bad penalties. Garnet Hathaway, make him take a dumb penalty. You know he will at some point during the game. And you got to make sure that your power play's going. And one thing, too, last key is be aware on the power play of the Flyers going shorthanded. They lead the NHL in shorthanded goals, and they go for it. Every single time that they have an opportunity, they look to put the puck in the back of the net while being shorthanded.
Have you seen? Yeah, I got him right here. So the Blues projected lineup at Philadelphia tonight, according to the Blues. Jeremy Rutherford tweeted this out as well, at JP Rutherford. Top line, Buchnevich, Thomas, and Kyrou. Second line is Bolduc, Schenn, and Neighbors. Third line, Saad, Hayes, and Toropchenko. Fourth line will be Walker, Sundqvist, and Kapanen. Your defensive pairings tonight, Leddy, Parayko, Krug, Falk, Scandella, Perunovic. Binnington will draw the start tonight following an impressive Saturday against Minnesota. No surprises, right, Jimmy?
No surprise. I would expect Bolduc to move up and down and all around in that lineup today. I think you'll see Kapanen play with Schenn and Neighbors. I think you'll see Toropchenko play with Hayes and Saad. I think you'll see Bolduc play on both of those lines. I think that you'll just expect some of that movement throughout the game based on what the score is, where the face-off is, and who's on the ice for the opposition.
All right, let's do our first goal of the game.
Let's go, boys.
We need you to score more goals.
Get those loose pucks.
Thomas to Kyrou. Score!
Goal!
No big deal. Game winner.
All right, Jamie, I think you have 4 now. 4 goals, first goal. So take over, man. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with Jake Neighbors. Just the young man has been buzzing around the net, and he's a big part of the power play. I think that you have some obvious choices in Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich, but the puck just seems to be finding Jake Neighbors, and he continues to put the puck in the back of the net, and he's got 20 goals now, and I know for him personally 25 would be a great goal to achieve. So I'm going to go with Jake Neighbors.
Jake Neighbors, 14 shots over his last 5 games, 1 goal, 1 block, one power play point as well. So Jake Neighbors, he's seen about a little over 16 minutes of ice time per game. So Jake Neighbors is Jamie's play tonight. What do you got, Marsh?
I usually like going with the storyline, so obviously Kevin Hayes would kind of fall into that
Make
category.
a recommendation. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to, Anthony. I'm definitely not going to. That was kind of mean, but I'll let it slide. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's go Kevin Hayes. And from the net,
boy, Marshy.
let's just throw it out. Last week, I took the Clippers -16.5. and you almost convinced me not to.
No, I didn't. I just
did.
I just said I didn't know the line. I
Don't
said
listen to
16 and a half. No, don't listen to me on anything in life or otherwise. I'm just saying.
No,
They won by
seriously.
more than
Yeah.
that. So,
Marsh, that's great. I'm happy for you.
well, thank you.
You don't seem like it.
Well, I'm being accused of something I didn't do. So I guess I'm
No, you did. You absolutely did it.
okay. You know what? You're right. I did it. I did it all. Old scumbag Anthony doing it again, you know? So
You just get that tattooed right down your forearm. Scumbag.
I should. It's not on my forehead.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to get piece of crap
Anthony's-
on the forehead and then scumbag down one of the forearms.
Some people might call you those names, Anthony, and shame on them, first of all, okay, for doing that.
I
Second
call
of all,
myself these, so shame on me.
Yeah, but it's only because you hear other people call you those names so often.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to tell you right now, change your thinking. You're not a piece of crap, and you're not a scumbag,
Thank you.
okay?
Appreciate
Got
you.
You're a really good person, Anthony.
Thanks, Jamie.
Good guy,
Not,
Stalter.
but- No, I'm not.
Bart Star Award winner, if there was one for a radio and a radio analyst.
Whatever the exact opposite of the Bart Star Award, just
Yeah.
give me that. Like all the players who's ever had issues, just combine them all, and
Okay.
then I'll get that award.
Like the Johnny Manziel Award.
Yeah.
Oh, I won that one year.
All right, I'm going to take Booch. He's got 15 shots in his last 5 games, 5 goals, 19, a little over 19 of ice time for him per game. So you had mentioned it earlier, kind of an easy option, but I'm going to go with the easy option. I'm going to go with the guy that's got 5 goals over his last 5 games, and Booch. He'll probably score the second goal. That's what happened the last time I took Booch.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah. Oh, well.
What are you going to do about it?
Nothing I can do. 6 o'clock, the puck will drop in Philadelphia. Blues and Flyers. Again, we'll have the pregame for you right here on 101 ESPN starting at 5.
By the way, did you see Gritty over the weekend?
What
he was
happened to
dressed
Gritty?
up as Spider-Man.
Was
I don't
he?
know if you saw that.
I didn't see that, no.
Jamie, you better watch out for Gritty. He might be trying to do some funny business around you. Will you run into
Gritty?
him?
Gritty will take a dirt nap if he messes with me.
Damn.
He knows. It wouldn't be the first mascot to get
That's
it.
very
All right?
true.
Who do you think's worse, Gritty or Bowie?
I think Bowie is more annoying because Gritty did it first. Like, Gritty came in hot. Everybody, a lot of people thought it was, what the hell is that thing? But Gritty lived up to the name. And I feel like Bowie is just like, is a poser.
Yeah.
Really not all, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Kind of haunts her nightmares,
Yeah,
though.
but does he? Or he's just trying to? It's like a wannabe Gritty.
Blues haven't been the same, though, since we saw Bowie last year.
That's true.
They haven't been the same.
No,
They
he
haven't.
So is he trying to just kind of get into your dreams? Well, it seemed to work last year for the Blues. So there's that. All right, Jamie. We'll see you tomorrow, bud. Have a good
You
call
got it,
tonight for
Thank
Bally
you.
Sports Midwest Blues Flyers. Dan McLaughlin will be with us for the next 2 hours. We have What's Trending coming up next.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, back with you here, joined by our good buddy Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, you're always...
Go ahead, Jamie. Fire it up again. We got Stewie on the line.
Yeah, we got Stewie on the line. Stewie, you're always helping out our 101 ESPN listeners, and I hear you've done it again.
That's right, Jamie. We came out with a new program. Now, a lot of people who own rental properties, they're writing off all their income. They're self-employed. They're not showing anything. So they're wondering, how am I going to get a loan if I buy another property? Well, we have the answer. We have a program right now We don't even look at your tax returns. You put down 20%, 25%, get a rental property. It's based on the cash flow of that property, and bam. And here's what's even better. You can close that transaction in an LLC. That's protecting you, protecting everyone around you. You can get in that property, no tax returns, no income, just based on the rental cash flow of that property, and we can make it happen in 2 weeks.
That's why you need to call Stewie, our guy from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Tell him that you heard it on 101 ESPN or heard him on 101 ESPN, and you have a certain situation you want help with. That's why Stewie's there for you. He has different programs, including the bagel loan, help save you money up front and over the long haul when it comes to your loan. But you do have to pick up the phone and call him at 314-324-4440. Jamie?
314-324-4440.
Of course, you can always Google the bagel loan. Thanks, Stewie.
Have a good one, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
Are you in the market for replacement windows? Then my friends over at Window World are your first call. Give them a call. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. They love to hear that. They've got so many great options available over there with their windows. They do such a great job. They also have double-strength glass that gives it a strength that's not commonly used in normal replacement windows. I know this. I had ordinary windows before, and then there's breakage, there's a storm, something hits it, there's cracks. The cold air is leaking in when it's winter, the hot air is leaking in the summer. You don't want that. Get the good windows from Window World that keep all of that together for you. And they also offer a lifetime warranty on those windows that cover all the parts, the glass breakage, and the labor. And let's not forget that their customer service is fantastic. They pride themselves on good customer service, making sure that you are completely satisfied. Another great aspect is Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit to help you get started with your replacement windows. So please, again, get in touch with them over at Window World. You can give them a call, or you can visit them online at windowworld.com.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Dan McLaughlin and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Speaking of Marsh, he's got what's trending.
Yeah, let's just reset things here. Sonny Gray was removed from the game today as the Cardinals fell to the Washington Nationals 1-0. A hamstring injury that's sort of been the big news of the day. I mean, this is not good.
Yeah, we don't know the severity, Dan. He refused to talk to the media, and I should say refused. He declined to not talk to the media because he wanted to make sure that he got it looked at, and he didn't want to start talking about an injury he doesn't know the severity of either. I don't want to sit here and react or overreact one way or another by saying, it's not a big injury, at least it's not a shoulder or an elbow.
But it's not good.
But it's not. I mean, this isn't good. You got removed from a start.
And it was in 2022, I believe. He was on the IL 3 different times with a hamstring. I don't know if this is the same hamstring that's been aggravated. I guess we'll find out. But the other part of this is that, let's just say he is okay. They're still going to be extra cautious with him. Does that mean missing a start, maybe missing 2? So you do the math. Opening day's not that far away, and all of a sudden you push back, and then he's not ready to go. That would be my concern right now too. So even if it isn't that severe, it could push him back timetable-wise, and then you wonder where you go from there, and would he be ready for that first road trip of the season? Those are just some of the things to think about.
Yeah.
Not good, though.
No. This is your number one.
He's your number one.
This is the guy that you absolutely need. I heard Brandon Kiley say he's the most important Cardinal heading into this season. If you're just going to talk about this season, he's the most important Cardinal.
He's up there.
He's up there.
Yeah.
Whether he's number one or whatever.
He's going to give you a shot against other teams' number ones, and against lesser number ones on the opposite team, he's going to give you a good chance to win. And so that's where you need to have him.
And he's going to do so more than what you had a year ago.
Absolutely. I mean, you get concerned because take him out of the rotation. You're talking Lynn, Gibson, Michaelis, Matz, and either Liberator or Zach Thompson. I mean, that's not what you signed up for. You were expecting at least every fifth day, this guy, if we're in a rut, is going to give us a chance to win some games. Yep. And if he's not there, that's not good. Not good at all. Marsh, what do you got?
I got Caitlin Clark becoming the NCAA's all-time scoring leader yesterday. Congratulations to her. It came via the free throw as they defeated Ohio State. What an incredible, just one performance, but an incredible career for Caitlin Clark. And now she's just missing a national championship.
And she may get it before it's all said and done.
They're ranked, 6th? Or 8th in the country right now?
Are they 6? I think they're 6. You might be right on that.
I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I am more interested right now in watching her than I am the men's side of things right now. I can't hardly name some of the men's players on each side. I mean, I know SLU, I know Mizzou, and I used to know a bunch of teams after that. I'm having a hard time with the transfer portal, and I follow it still, maybe not as closely as I once did, so part of this is on me, but I follow her very closely to see how many points and three-pointers she puts up every night.
Right. How much will things change in about a week and a half or 2 weeks?
A lot.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it'll be a lot.
Isn't that just the nature of the tournament? That's just great. But to your point, Dan, there isn't a play. There's great players right now playing in college basketball. Don't get me wrong, but to this magnitude, this popular, somebody that you're willing to tune in for? No, I think to your point, that's well made. How much of it too matters because the two local teams are struggling as much as they
part of it. I think that's part of it. The other thing I want to say about Caitlin Clark is that I do wonder what the difference in money would be if she stayed NIL as opposed to going to the WNBA. Now, if I'm the WNBA, I'm saying to her, we realize you're going to get a ton of money if you stay at Iowa. We understand you're selling out arenas. We understand that you're an important piece to women's basketball. But if I'm the WNBA, I would say to her, wink, wink, we've got a chance to match that and then some. We're going to go to our top sponsors. And we're going to say Caitlin Clark is going to be here. So if you want to latch on to the league that needs as much publicity as it can possibly get, then let's figure out a way to make sure you get paid. And if that's the case, it might be just her saying, I want straight competition. I want to play against the best in the world. Get it. But, man, if I'm the WNBA, I'm finding a way to get her paid.
Yeah, good call.
I was listening to ESPN, national radio last night, and they were having the conversation if she is the best player relative to her peers, if she's the best player in the United States right now out of all the sports. Like you have Otani would be on there as well, Connor McDavid. There's a different, there's a bunch of different names that you could throw on there, but obviously not the best player, but relative to her peers or to whoever's peers.
So Patrick Mahomes exists, so I can't go there. But it's an interesting question. At least it's thought provoking. But
for sure,
since Patrick Mahomes is a human being and doing what he's doing at his level, I got to go with Mahomes.
And the popularity of the league. people paying attention, eyeballs on that individual. Patrick Mahomes is the guy.
Yeah.
Number one league by a long shot, and he's winning championships and doing it with flair.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy. Has to be.
She's in the photo, though.
She's the
That's for
top,
sure.
like 5 at least.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who would be that player in baseball right now?
Ohtani.
Yeah, definitely Shohei.
I think it's got to be Ohtani.
Even with the injury? Or are we just saying, like, when he's healthy?
Well, I'd say even now, because he's in with the Dodgers. One thing to be with the Angels, another thing to be with the Dodgers. And you just see how much media is around him and watching, and it's international. That's the other part that I look at, too. He's not just, in the United States as being a figure for baseball, but he's an international superstar, especially from his home. They can't get enough of him.
Right.
By the way, you guys seem a little down today. Is it the Mondays or what?
I think it's because Jason Kelsey retired.
Yeah, it's because Jason
After
Kelsey
13
retired.
years.
Yeah, don't be down.
Well-
Came in here, was ready to fired up, but maybe it's because we were just so fired up at 2 to hear Jamie, and then he wasn't here, and I came in and had all my best stuff, which is not
That's
a lot.
true. You really came in and
you
did a
came
great
in with
job.
your hair on fire.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Jason Kelsey retiring. I think it's the Sonny Gray injury.
Yeah.
I think it's Kirk Cousins potentially leaving Minnesota. Things like
see
that.
it.
Go to Atlanta.
Probably going to Atlanta. Pay him a lot of money because they think they've got a good roster. They don't.
Isn't Cousins' wife from
Atlanta?
Yeah, boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Julie, come on, what are you doing?
Is that her name?
Yeah.
That would have been even better if you just made it up.
Why she's on the phone with Julie trying to make sure this doesn't happen.
We got extra Kohl's cash for you if you
Extra
stay
Kohl's.
in Minnesota.
So, yeah, he's going. So, Kirk is probably going to Atlanta. J.J. McCarthy probably going to Minnesota.
Oh, my goodness.
That makes sense.
Stop it. I also saw Shaky Bakey could be in the mix to be the Vikings'
Sure.
next quarterback.
Well, you can't start J.J. McCarthy right away.
No,
so you sign Baker Mayfield
Yeah.
first.
Got to get Jefferson signed long-term in Minnesota before anything. Mm-hmm. He's the guy, and then you figure out everything else.
someone's
But this
gotta throw
would
him
be
the
like,
ball.
wouldn't this be the first domino to fall, though, if Cousins winds up going to Atlanta? Then things kind of a little clearer picture on what may happen.
Then where does Justin Fields go? Because it seems like a foregone conclusion that the Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams number 1. Or even if they surprise and go like Jaden Daniels, it's still they're going to take a quarterback number 1 and look to trade Fields. So where does it go? Pittsburgh?
That's the one I was thinking. I mean, why not? I've been saying this for a month, that he would be a perfect fit in Pittsburgh. Not sold on Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. Let him get with Mike Tomlin. You're going to still win some games. And I think I'm the only guy in the history of football that still likes Justin Fields. I love what he did down the stretch. Thought he looked good. And you're looking at me like I'm a total idiot.
I think he's a bona fide NFL starter. I don't think he is going to develop into the passer that he'll need to be for a team to make a deep run. Is he
I agree with that.
Is he exciting? Absolutely. Is he somebody that can flip a game with his legs? Sure. Can he make some throws? Absolutely. Can he be consistent enough to win? I wouldn't even say in the pocket. In the passing game for that team to elevate. I don't think so. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at on Fields.
I think it's fair. Yeah.
But is he a starter? Yeah, of course.
What if he had weapons around him, though?
So if he goes to Pittsburgh, he'd have good weapons.
That's what I mean. I'd love to see him with
Johnson,
some more
George
weapons,
Pickens.
see what he could do. Yeah. I'm a fan. I'm the only one, but I'm a fan.
I don't think you're the only one. I think there's some Bears fans that want to keep him.
And there's no way you could keep him and then draft Caleb Williams with the idea that, we're going to groom him.
Nope.
Because the competition would be, and the media and the fans would be, you got to play Caleb Williams. No, you got to play Justin Fields. You got to sit him for a year.
Yep.
Just a distraction you don't need.
No, you want to, if you're going to make this move, you're turning the franchise over to the next kid.
So I've been saying draft Marvin Harrison for the Bears and then see what happens. And there's no chance that it would ever happen. Ever.
I think if they were
Get
smart.
Worthy from Texas, who just ran like a 3.5 40.
He ran a 3.2. I watched him a bunch this year.
He's a great player.
He's a great player.
I think if they were smart, though, they'd probably try and build a team around Justin Fields. But I mean,
I see what you're doing right now.
That won't happen.
I see it
The
too.
resident Viking fan is wishing something into existence that he wants to see happen, so the Bears falter. I
don't really need to wish because they've just been doing it on their own for years now.
That's fair. That is fair. Do the Cardinals hamstring themselves in the pitching market?
See what you did there.
It was all Marsh. Marsh wrote that down.
Very nice.
Nice job there, Marsh. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. With Dan McLaughlin and Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. We got the Blues tonight against the Flyers. Pre-game starting at 5 o'clock, so we're off a little bit earlier tonight. The big news locally, unfortunately, is that Sonny Gray was lifted from his start today with hamstring tightness. He did not speak to the media following the game because he didn't want to speak on an injury that he didn't really have knowledge of as of right now, or like the extent of it. He was going to take an MRI on the right hamstring. Dan, do you think that's just normal?
Yeah, for sure. I think when somebody has any kind of tweak like this, or we don't know the severity, but when they have something like this, definitely MRI, especially this early in the season. I'd really be curious to hear him after the game today and just say, this is completely precautionary on my end. I've had hamstring issues a couple of years ago. I was put on the IL 3 different times with a hamstring. It felt like it was before, not maybe to the severity, but I know when this is coming on, and I wanted to nip it in the bud. I'd feel better about that if that's what he came out and said.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I didn't want to look too much into the MRI if that was normal. I assumed
no, it's normal.
Yeah. So I made this point with Jamie earlier, and I'm interested in your thoughts, Dan. If you want to be a team like the Cardinals, and you want to operate from the standpoint of, okay, we signed Sonny Gray, that was kind of our big signing, and we also knew we needed to fill in the rotation. We didn't necessarily want to do it with internal options, so we're going to sign Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Okay, fine. You didn't go beyond that. You know that Steven Matz has injury issues. You know that Miles Michaelis rode the roller coaster last year. You know that Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson are all well into their 30s. You know all of this, yet this was going to be your starting rotation. Fine. If you suffer an injury, you better be right on the internal options then. If
That's
you're
fair.
not going to be aggressive in the offseason and take the sledgehammer to the fly and say, we're also going to add Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell or trade for Tyler Glasnow and go from there, okay, fine. You better nail your internal options if there's an injury.
I like Zach Thompson. Maybe I'm too much on his bandwagon, but I do like him. I think he's going to be really good. Now, is he enough to fill in for your number one? And that's the Cardinals' number one guy. You can debate whether he's a number one overall or 1A or whatever, but he's an important piece to the puzzle. I think, too, that maybe what they think, and I haven't spoken to anybody about this, but maybe what they think is that we can bridge gaps with guys, whether you like that or not. If somebody goes down, we can at least bridge the gap until they come back. And They may have to do that here initially to start this season. Where it gets interesting, remember they said that they wanted to start with a 6-man rotation beginning of this season. That kind of complicates that potentially too. So there's a lot of things at work with this. I think if you're a Cardinal fan, and I said this earlier at 2 o'clock, I think what you're hoping is that Sonny Gray felt a tweak, knew because of his injury history, knew that something wasn't right. The severity is negligible, and it's something that you don't look at that it's going to be serious, and he comes back. My only concern is that you're up against the clock. Every day that you're down there, it's scripted. Okay, he's going to throw on the side on this day. He's going to give us 2 innings on this start. Rinse and repeat. Next time out, he's going to give us 3, maybe 4, depending on how it goes. We're going to build up to 6, maybe 7. Well, when he comes out after under 2 innings, you go back to square one in a lot of ways, depending on the severity of the injury. Right. And that's where it would really concern me from the Cardinals' perspective of things.
Certainly. We talked about this too, but it's going to be something that a lot of people. We got our Sports Six Pack coming up at the bottom at the actually 3:45 today. So if you got a question for us, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line. I'm sure one of the questions will be, do you think the Cardinals are going to go out and sign somebody? I would. I don't think they will. I would throw a 2-year offer at either Montgomery or Snell, up the average annual value, and give them a player option for the second year just to tempt them.
Here's where I'm at with that. If it was a severe injury, I'm 100% with you.
Sure.
And
we're operating as if Gray could be out a while.
You know, if this was an elbow and all of a sudden it popped and he's out and you're looking at a guy that's going to miss considerable time, if not the full season, count me in. I'm with you. Here's where I'm interested is Scott Boras has these guys, and you just saw Matt Chapman sign for $54 million. Mm-hmm. He wanted way more than that. Teams have already set their budgets in a lot of ways, and they've already set their teams. How cheap can I get these players? What can Snell get? I think a lot of teams went away from him because they said, well, he walks 5 per 9.
Right.
Do I really want to give a guy that walks? He's got great stuff. Don't get me wrong. He just won the Cy Young. He's got 2 under his belt, but he walks 5 per 9. Do I want to pay him $200 million for that? Probably not. And you hold these guys out as long as you do, and all of a sudden rosters get full, and you got to settle. So getting to that settled point, what is it? Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated by what Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell would get. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows at this point, but that would really interest me. Now, there could always be a dark horse owner, dark horse team that comes out and says, yeah, we thought about it, we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And you played the waiting game and it worked. But back to the Cardinals thing, if Sonny Gray would be out for a while or a long, long time, how do you not venture into those waters and at least see what it's all about?
I mean, I would. I don't know if the Cardinals would. I think they would look at some other veteran pitcher that probably still on the market that we haven't heard of because they haven't pitched in 3 years, and they'll go that route instead, or they'll just go with an internal option, which is fine, again, if these internal options are ready to go, whether it's Zach Thompson or somebody else.
This had to be one of the concerns for the Cardinals, though.
You would think.
The age of the rotation. Going into this season, you're banking on these guys being healthy, and here it is, second week in spring, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you got an issue already.
This guy's doing this. That's not good.
But they didn't. So to your point, though, they did not act that way. They acted as if, we're good.
However, going back to this time last year, they didn't hedge their bets.
Yeah.
And that was one of the, you didn't know about Waino. Waino wasn't very good. You had other guys that just did not compete at the level you needed, and they didn't hedge their bets. I would imagine they feel like we've hedged our bets a little bit this year. Mm-hmm. Liberatore is there. We got a couple other guys that we like that maybe have to be pressed into action. Zach Thompson is there. And we feel like if this is the case, then we can fall back on these guys. Not ideal, in my opinion, but I imagine that's some of the mindset that they have.
Friends would have hedged the bets.
Friends always hedge the bets.
Your friends would have absolutely.
Yeah, my friends are they're amazing.
They're smart though. Yep.
Yeah, they look at Cardinals, every line, every angle, everything.
Yeah, they're not. No. Nope. All right. It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Again, we've got the Sports Six-Pack coming up at 3:45. If you text us into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, you can send your questions in there. We've got NFL Fill in the Blank next. The Missouri Athletic Club. I know my good friend here, Dan McLaughlin, heads down to the MAC. It's ours. Our MAC. Dan loves to go down there, work out. He always hits the steam room. It's nice, isn't it? I love working out down there as well. I usually go to the West Clubhouse. Boy, the downtown spot's nice too, though.
Fantastic.
Events, dinners, banquets, they've got it all at the Missouri Athletic Club. So maybe you'll see Dan and I down there if you're already a member. When it comes to the Missouri Athletic Club, though, they've always got great events going on, different things throughout each month, the things that you can involve the family in or just you. It's a fantastic spot, and it's our, Dan and I's, MAC, Missouri Athletic Club.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues took down the Wild over the weekend, 3-1. They'll take on the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Early pregame for you starting at 5. So pregame starts at 5. Puck drop is at 6. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. City SC defeated New York City FC over the weekend 2-0. So a big win for them early on in this 2024 campaign. And Sonny Gray was removed from today's game as the Cardinals lost 1-0. Some hamstring issues. We were talking about that earlier in the show. We'll continue to dive into that throughout the remainder of today's show. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or use the free 101 mobile app. You'll find everything from our interviews, the full show. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This Sports Center update is brought to you by
Saliga
Heating and Cooling, the independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
So good timing with NFL fill in the blank. I just saw this. The Broncos have notified quarterback Russell Wilson that he will be released after the league begins on March 13th. League year begins on March 13th. So no surprise.
Ask a fill in the blank?
Yeah.
So Kelly Chase has his big fundraiser coming up, and one of the coaches is Sean Payton.
I saw that.
So I'm trying to figure out the connection. Maybe it's with, it's interesting. I was watching over the weekend. There was a commercial that had Wayne Gretzky and Sean Payton. So Gretzky is like putting on the green, and Sean Payton is his partner in the foursome or something.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, how did those two get together? I'm trying to figure out exactly how this all worked out. But that's just something you need to work on, Anthony and Marsh, and give me an answer by tomorrow morning when I join the opening drive.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate the deadline on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Maybe somebody has on the text line. They can help us out. The connection there. Sean Payton is going to be coaching one of the teams.
That's interesting. I know he went to high school, I think in Naperville, Illinois, but I don't know what the connection would be to Kelly.
Yeah.
On that.
I wonder where he coached where he was an assistant maybe somewhere that had hockey.
He was with Dallas.
Yeah. I didn't think that.
Could have been during his time when he was not coaching.
What about college? Where was he at in college?
He played for
wasn't a MAC team, was it?
No, I think it was in Eastern Illinois.
That's right, Eastern Illinois.
He had a successful playing career as the quarterback at Eastern Illinois.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out. That was my NFL fill in the blank.
Fair enough, yeah. So he's a coach at San Diego State, Indiana State, Miami of Ohio, Illinois, the Eagles, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Saints.
Maybe San Diego State, Gretzky in L.A.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the connection.
I don't know yet.
I'm trying to pull. Oh, you know what? I think I do know the answer.
What do you got?
There is a summer vacation place that a ton of hockey guys go to. I think it's Gozzard.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Payton, I think, has a place there.
Okay.
And I think that's how the connection has been born.
There you go.
I think that's what it is.
You didn't even need us.
Yeah, you just filled in your own blank.
No, I was thinking about this, and I think that I had heard that Sean Payton had a place there. I know a bunch of hockey guys have homes there and vacation in the summers, so the schedules would line up to where they would be buddies with some of those guys. I think that's where the connection is. I don't know. What else you got?
Take over, Marsh.
You mentioned Russell Wilson on the verge of just being released, and, well, that sucks for him, but Russell Wilson being released by the Broncos is blank.
Is
expected.
A no-brainer.
Yeah. It's expected, no-brainer. You knew it was coming. So how much will they pay him?
That's the thing. That I was just about to say. It's interesting now, since they're releasing him, they're going to have a ton of dead cap money. We had kind of broken this down before. Let me pull up his contract. They're going to owe him. They're still going to owe him a bunch of money, but they're also in terms of the Broncos being willing to operate and all that. You're worried about the cap. Like,
exactly.
Forget about what the owner has to pay the guy. How much is that going to impact the cap? And I think that the dead cap money is going to be astronomical. Let's see here. The cap hit in 2024 will be $35.4 million.
Well, they must really not like you to do that.
No kidding. The cap hit in 2025, they're going to carry about $49.6 million in dead cap. It's just they're going to be cap strapped for a while here. They're not going to be able to operate like they want to for at least the next 2 years.
How much do they dislike Russell Wilson to do that?
They're going to pay him to just go away.
So who is do you think they go out and get somebody, or do they fill it internally?
They're going to have to draft. They're going to have to draft somebody.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have cap space, it's not like you could turn around and sign. I mean, even Baker Mayfield will probably exceed what they're going to be able to spend in a cap. So they're going to have to draft somebody and roll with that. Or go with Jarrett Stidham, who was their starter once Russell Wilson was benched last year.
I was wondering if they just roll it with him.
Then they might.
Sean Payton is there long term.
Mm-hmm.
And just say, we're going to buy a year with this guy. Showed us some things at the end of last year.
Yep.
And if it doesn't work out, then we go out and draft a guy.
Right, exactly.
They don't have a great track record, though, when it comes to getting quarterbacks. The only one that really worked out was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
But he was injured the whole time, and he was carried by his defense.
John Elway sucked.
The final year, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
John Elway.
I'm talking about
I know what you
since
meant,
then.
Mark.
Yeah.
Under John Elway.
Yes.
Yeah, as one of the front office guys. Good luck. I don't know where Russ goes either. There's plenty of quarterback needy teams, but who wants to take on the headache if the guy can't play? And I don't think he can. I think he's done.
You think so?
Yeah.
What if you get him in a different system?
I don't think that works.
No.
Nope. I think he's done. I think Sean Payton told us everything we needed to know. He was taking the ball essentially out of Russ's hands in games last year.
Oh, yeah.
He was making him kind of hey, just make one or two throws.
Watched a bunch of their games, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely took the ball out of his hands.
Yep.
Oh, I wonder how much that whole contract thing that behind the scenes had to do with that. Because if he got injured,
sure,
then they would have owed him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they will, but they were trying to get rid of that. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Obviously, if you're handing the ball off, you're probably not going to get injured.
Right.
Comparable to if you're throwing it.
Yeah. Either way, he gone.
He gone. He gone.
Some good news out of Tampa Bay. Five-time Pro Bowl receiver Mike Evans reached an agreement on a 2-year, $52 million contract that includes $35 million guaranteed. So,
wouldn't you have to bring Baker back then if that's the case?
See, I would think so. Why not run it back with Baker Mayfield? And if you're Mike Evans, do you sign even a 2-year deal at $52 million, and it's $35 million in guaranteed money? So that's kind of the key figure there. But if you're Mike Evans, do you even run it back for 2 years,
not knowing who the guy is?
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think you do.
So I wonder if Mike has a good idea that Baker Mayfield wants to re-sign and the Bucs want to re-sign him, and there's no guarantee, but you've got kind of a good idea that Baker Mayfield is going to be your starter again next year,
or somebody else too. Maybe Kirk Cousins was one of those guys that was getting his name thrown around in that mix.
Sure.
Let me ask you guys this: is there a more underrated wide receiver than Mike Evans? I mean, he has been really good and has built up a Hall of Fame career. He really has.
Yes.
Underrated.
I've always thought, despite the injuries, that Keenan Allen was always underrated.
That's a good one.
Different styles. Mike Evans can win on the ground and in the air. Keenan Allen's really he can win on the ground.
Sure.
Outstanding route runner. I don't know if there's anybody else that I would consider.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Completely underrated from a receiver standpoint. Let me see here. I'll take a quick look.
Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's had an outstanding career.
I did some of his games in college.
Did you?
Yeah.
He was at Texas A&M with
Texas
Johnny Manziel.
A&M. You got it.
When did you do those games?
He was, I think, a little bit ahead of Johnny. And I used to do a Big 12 game of the week.
That's fantastic.
That no one watched on this weird channel. But we would always get the lesser of the Big 12 games because ABC would pick up one, ESPN would have one.
Sure.
And we get the lesser of the games. However, of the teams that were ranked. Mm-hmm. However, the games are always great because it was two teams that were kind of not so good, but they put together a great game. So it was always a fun game to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. That's pretty sweet. But back to the NFL fill in the blank. Mike Evans and the Bucs' new deal is blank.
It's good for the Bucs to run it back again, assuming that Baker is going to. Baker Mayfield played really well last year. I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan. I think his ceiling's kind of capped. But you look at that division, even if Atlanta gets Kirk Cousins, you have every opportunity to win that thing again.
Baker Mayfield was close to taking them to the conference championship.
Yeah, won a home playoff game. The game against the Lions was very competitive.
How about this one? I saw this. I read it the other day. I think I'm saying this right, but they said that Baker Mayfield in the last 10 years is the best college quarterback that is in the last 10, just college, in the past 10 years. Doesn't mean what he's done in the pros.
Like statistically?
Not statistically. This guy just put out his rankings, and he said Baker was number one on his list. You had Johnny Manziel, you had Baker, you had guys that had won the Heisman.
In the last 10 years.
It was prior to Caleb Williams. So I guess it's been 10 years prior to that.
So where does Andrew Luck fit?
Like he's got to be in there.
If he's out, but if he's out of the 10-year range, I would understand that.
Yeah.
If not, it's got to be Luck.
I probably messed it all up.
Best QB in college?
In college?
Yeah, college.
Don't take 10 years.
Don't look at what he's done in the pros.
I mean, Lamar was pretty good in college.
Yeah, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even Deshaun.
Pretty good. Clemson had a nice run there.
Clemson had a very nice run.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
They're my bounce back team this year in college football.
Really?
Even though they won their bowl game, but they started what, like 2-3 or something like that.
And everybody's killing Dabo.
They're going to go transfer portal. He's going to reluctantly do it, and they're going to be a very, very good team this year. All right, you heard it here first.
Got his stamp of approval on your Clemson Tigers.
You got it.
We got Joe Burrow too. Can't forget him.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow. See, Joe Burrow though. Joe Burrow had a historic season. Joe Burrow was disgusting for a season.
Yeah.
The previous year at LSU, he was okay, and of course, he transferred from Ohio State. I thought Burrow was fine in his 1 year, and then he put up historic numbers.
Pretty good team. He had a nice surrounding cast.
That's one of the best college football teams ever.
Pros everywhere on that team.
Jamar Chase,
go Tigers.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
pretty good.
Burrow. I mean, forget about
Jefferson. Was he on that team? Yeah.
Was Justin Jefferson on that team too? He must have been. Let's see here. When was Justin Jefferson drafted?
Go to work over there, Anthony.
Hang tight. Round 1, 2020. He was there in 2019.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the season, right? Yeah. So you had Justin Jefferson on one side, Jamar Chase on the other.
Pretty good.
Holy crap! We didn't even get to the defense.
No.
Hey. All right. Sports Six Pack is next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So if you've got a question for Dan or I, send it in there. Sports Six Pack here on 101 ESPN.
Bearmere Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirrors, glass, and shower doors.
You know, with the spring weather, that means you get the rain. A lot of rain. Is your lawn ready to go? Because if not, you got to call my friends at Green Envy. I've been with Green Envy now. We at home we've been with Green Envy now for over 10 years. We have loved the results. Each and every year, they take care of the lawn. All I have to do is do what I want to do. Mow it, trim it up, make it look nice, but they get it to look fantastic year-round. They make it look fantastic. Well, I should say year-round because obviously the snow and stuff, but in the spring, Green Envy does a great job of spraying for weeds with all that spring weather. You get the rain, then the heat, and then you got weeds all over your yard. But if you have Green Envy, they manage it consistently. They stay on top of it. And then, of course, throughout the course of the year, they will, they'll seed it, make sure that certain areas that might need a little more attention, they're seen, right? That those areas are taken care of. Locally owned and operated, been in business in St. Louis for over a decade. And here's the best part. Green Envy only uses products that are formulated for Missouri soil, weather conditions, and turf types. If you go to any big box store, hardware store, you're going to see a lot of the national, generic, cheap, ineffective products. You don't know what you're doing. I certainly didn't. If you're not a professional, you may wind up screwing up your lawn. Or, again, you could just call Green Envy at 636-757-1600. Again, 636-757-1600. Tell them Stalter sent you. They're going to make your lawn the envy of your neighborhood.
The Shamrock Shake is back for a limited time, and the McDonald's app is my lucky break on a Shamrock Shake. I can save 25% of my entire order at $5 or more, like a Shamrock Shake made with creamy vanilla soft serve. I can also save on a Big Mac, fries, and Oreo Shamrock McFlurry, and other faves. Save 25% off $5 or more exclusively with mobile order and pay in the McD app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Offer valid through 3/24/24 at participating McDonald's. Valid once a day, must opt into rewards. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group used under license.
ESPN is your home for Blues hockey. Every month during the season, you can check out either the 101 mobile app or 101ESPN.com for your chance to get entered to win for a pair of tickets to an upcoming Blues home game at Enterprise Center. New winners picked every month throughout the season for free tickets to see the Blues in action, courtesy of 101 ESPN. Get entered to win now online at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Dan McLaughlin. I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh with your questions.
Question one, please.
Question number one.
All right, from the 706, is it normal for a team to have 0 home runs 9 games into spring training?
Not usual.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they can't be normal.
Not usually. Not ideal. They scored 1 run today. If this is a trend, let's say a week from now, then I start getting a little concerned. Early in a spring training, I'm not worried about it too much because all of a sudden you'll have a game and you explode for 10 runs.
Right.
Everybody settles down, and it's not that big a deal. If you were in the final week of spring training where starters go, let's say 5 to 7 innings, yeah, we got an issue.
So here's where I'm at with this, right? So they've scored 5 runs in the past 40 innings. 5 runs in the past 40 innings. I don't, Dan, you and I have had these conversations. I don't care about the spring training numbers. I really don't. The Cardinals offensively last year were great in spring training. We all saw how the season turned out, right? However, when you're coming off an historically bad season.
You're stealing it from me where I was going to go, but go ahead, Anthony.
And then, Dan, you go into spring training having what some would describe at best as an okay offseason. And I'm talking about at best. And you have 5 runs in your past 40 innings. You haven't run into one. Nobody has hung a slider to park one over the fence, not once. And now your number 1 starter's banged up?
Yeah.
Not great.
Not great at all. I will say this, and this doesn't excuse the fact that they have not hit a home run. Roger Dean, by the way, one of the hardest ballparks to hit a home run in because the wind comes off the ocean. However, I'm going to counter myself and say sometimes it's the easiest place to hit a home run, especially for lefties, because the wind is blowing out.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit surprising that they have not hit a home run. Am I concerned? No. Would it be concerning towards the end of spring training? Yeah. And I also think that with what happened at the end of last season, just the season in total, you'd like to win some games.
You would think so.
There's a good thing, you just have better vibes when you win games. Players do treat it, though, as if this is my tune-up, and they're not too worried about the final score, where I think fans do. But as you mentioned, and I agree with you, I don't put a lot of stock into spring training. I just don't.
Yeah. Please, Dan.
Oh, question 2, please.
Question number 2.
Or should I cut you off there, kid?
Oh, I was just going to say last year they won the Grapefruit League and they were terrible in the regular season. So I'm really trying not to think too much into it. Hopefully it's the opposite of what happened last year.
I'll say what you're thinking. Championship.
Yeah.
No.
Division championship.
Division championship.
Yep.
That's right. Hang that banner.
So question number 2 comes from the 980. The Blues having to sell at the deadline for the 2nd straight year. Does it make it easier or harder to get back to being playoff competitive team?
Doesn't it depend on what you sell off?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What would you do with Buchnevich? I know it's been talked about ad nauseum, but what would you do?
Trade him for the best defenseman that I can find that's got as much contract left as possible.
What if you got 2 number 1s? No, you're not doing it?
Not if I want to continue to be in a retool.
Which is, when you're in a retool, a lot of it is patchwork.
You can tinker.
And that's what they've done this year. There's a lot of patchwork on that team.
I would just load up defensively. I heard BK and Ferrario discussing, who's the guy in Carolina? Natchez.
Oh, Marty Natchez.
Yeah, and the guys were talking about, I don't know, Marsh, you would know better than I would in terms of how he plays, but the guys were talking about how he's not great defensively, but he can score. I'm not selling out for offense. I'm going to sell out for defense.
Yeah.
I want a cup. The Blues won a cup.
Anthony, you were part of that team.
I was speaking as if I was Armstrong. Sometimes I like to speak as Armstrong or speak as Mo.
You were one of the Black Aces.
I was not. No, I did not win anything. Doug, if I'm Doug Armstrong, I won a cup because my defense was outstanding. My goaltending was outstanding. So if I'm going to try to rebuild in a hurry here, or retool in a hurry, or retool on the fly, whatever term you want to use, I'm going to sell out for defense. I don't want another guy that doesn't play defense that could score. He's a scorer. Okay, great. I'm going to sell out defensively.
Would you roll out Bolduc, and would you roll out Snuggerud and these guys towards the end of the season? And you're going to sign them anyway, you would think. So why not just start the clock and say, let's go?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would build the best. I would build over the next, so at this trade deadline and in the offseason, I would build the absolute best defense I could in front of Binnington, and I'd roll with the youngsters offensively. And if somebody wants to take Jordan Kyrou off my hands, sorry, I'm gonna deal him.
Wow.
I know I'm probably not supposed to say that.
You can say whatever you want.
How do I put this? I don't care. I would deal him.
Okay. You ready to move on? Question 3, please.
Question number
ready
3.
to move on, Dan.
You are ready to move.
The Blues make it easier for Anthony to turn the game off. That's where we're
I would
at.
never turn the game off.
You watch every single second of the Blues.
Do you know why? If not, Janet's going to yell at me.
That's true.
Has Janet been checking in recently or not?
We haven't heard from Janet in a while.
She's been a little here and there.
Every once in a while. Yeah.
Here and there on the text line, which I love seeing her on the text line. We're used to seeing her send mic drops, but it's good to see Janet
Dan
on the
wants to
text
hear
line.
her voice, though.
I was listening to you guys the other day, and there was a drop with Janet, and I just chuckled.
Did you?
It did. Yeah, it made me chuckle.
She's fantastic.
I enjoy it.
Janet
Maybe
is
if you
great.
have one right now, Marcia, I'd probably enjoy it.
I think what Dan's doing is trying to buy you some time. So you can,
Cut it out.
There we go.
Cut it out.
I hadn't heard that one.
I love it. I love it. Question 3, please.
Question number 3.
All right, from the 618 to Dan Mosley. Of all the sports you've done broadcast for, which is the hardest to prepare for? Is it hockey with the names, football with the plays, lack of familiarity, etc.? What do you think, Dan?
The hardest is baseball because there's so much downtime. And people would say, well, you know, you can call the action and it's not that. Well, the action, there's about 5 minutes over 3 hours. So you better fill the other 255. So that becomes hard. Hockey was the names. I loved hockey because it was continuous and basketball was continuous and football, if your analyst was good, they fill in the time until the next play. So I'd say it's baseball. Got to fill, especially on television.
Boy, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of filling, man. A lot of hot air.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things you say and you go, man, I wish I didn't say that. It happens. How about for you?
So the only time I've ever called games was.
Did you like it, by the way? Did you like calling a game?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, back when we had the Missouri Valley Conference tournament games, we would air them and they would fill us jokers in. They pair us up. So like I did a game with Randy one time, and Randy's a pro. Like Randy can handle play-by-play. I'm not. Despite like some people say, "Oh, you're on radio." It's not the same. It's not the same gig. Like we're doing a show. We're trying to entertain. That, as you know, Dan. I mean, you're a total pro. You're one of the best. You're one of the best. Period. You know, play-by-play is different. So for me being an analyst for like a basketball game, I apologize for anybody that listened. I tried my best.
See, I think
it was fun.
I think this is harder. Doing what you
shows?
do, what you do for 4 hours and filling, and a lot of the subjects are the same stuff that keeps coming up.
True.
You got to kind of find a different viewpoint or maybe a different way to phrase it.
Yeah.
4 hours of filling, that's a long time.
It can be a challenge.
Yeah.
Certainly.
That's why you're a pro.
Oh, you stop it, Dan.
I mean it. That's why I love coming on the fast lane with you. You make it fun.
Well,
Let's
you make
see.
it fun.
Somebody says, why don't you do that one thing in the morning, yo-ho? And I do it. I say yo-ho one time.
I told you that my son Lincoln, who's 2, has filled in for you.
He's yelling in the back seat.
He will do the yo-ho. So you're good, Dan. You don't have to worry about it.
Maybe that's what Dan is intending to do. He's wanting other people to say it like when rock stars are on stage, they don't actually sing the words. They point so the crowd can do it. That's what Dan's essentially doing for the listeners.
That's a savvy karaoke move, too. Like if you know you can't hit a high note or something, you're like, I'm just going to point a... You sing it.
Really, I think it's a good thing that Randy and Brooke and Rock do it, and I don't want to steal their thunder.
Absolutely.
So I just come in at the very end and drop my yo-ho.
Dan, I think you need to be you.
I'm just being me. Being me on this show, morning show, whatever. And working with you guys is a distinct pleasure in my life.
We love it.
Thank you, buddy. Question 4, please.
Okay, yeah.
Question number 4.
We got a text from the 314. Gauntlet play. Danny Mac boys.
There you go. So we'll do the Gauntlet. Asked for and received. Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN. If you have a project, whether it's maybe a home remodel, kitchen, bath, maybe you want to do the basement for the first time. You've been looking at a certain area in your house and you're saying, man, I'm tired of looking at this outdated situation. I want to go with the right company. Well, how about you choose my friends at Mosby Building Arts? They're incredible. They're the right remodeling company because they do it right the first time. You don't have to walk into a situation like some homeowners do and they say, I'm going to piece together this project because I'm saving money over the long haul. A lot of the times you won't. You'll go into a big box store, you'll sit down, they won't even come out and do measurements before they quote you something. And then the project starts and all of a sudden you're behind or more cost is added to it. Not at Mosby Building Arts. They come to the house, they measure everything based on what you choose. They sit down with you and say, hey, what are you looking for? They build it together. They build your project together. And then they have everything in-house for you. So they've got plumbers in-house. They've got electricians in-house. They do a great job. When the project is going on, they also have somebody checking in each and every week so that you feel like you're a part of the process. If you have questions, they'll answer them for you. If you have an issue that pops up, they'll get it solved for you right away. Again, it's Mosby Building Arts. Call Mosby.com or give them an actual call at 314-909-1800. Tell them Stalter sent you to call as well or told you to call. Mosby Building Arts, the right remodeling company.
Warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit Mastor.com.
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Dan McLaughlin and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. We welcome in Caleb into the Gauntlet. What's up, Caleb?
Not a whole lot. Ready for this.
All right. Is this your first time?
On the Gauntlet. I was on the challenge a couple months ago.
How'd you do?
I didn't do great because it was hockey and football questions, and it wasn't good.
So you're more, what, baseball?
Yeah, pretty big baseball.
All right. Well, we'll see what the Wheel of Death has for you. But before we do that, you got to choose either Marsh or me. Who would you like to take on?
I'll take on Marsh.
All right.
I could feel that coming. I really could.
Yeah. You sensed it, did you?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Spider sense.
I did.
Mm-hmm. All right, Caleb, tell Marsh to spin the wheel, and then we'll kick Marsh out.
Spin that wheel, Marsh.
You just took it from Caleb.
I know.
What the hell?
Well, Wasn't sure if he was paying attention.
Marsh, do we have the launch codes before you walk out, dude? All right, there we go. Thank you. All right, so we know we're hoping for baseball, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay, so Marsh is almost out, and good. Dan, you can see the wheel. I can't. What do we got? Hockey.
You gotta be kidding me.
Sorry.
You were speaking of play-by-play. Marshy does a really nice job on the Maryville games.
He does an excellent job on Maryville. Yeah, you can stream those games.
Yep.
Marsh is a multifaceted human being.
He sure is.
And handsome as ever.
You bet he is.
Yeah. All right, Caleb, sorry you got hockey. I know you didn't want it, but the wheel doesn't care about your feelings.
Dashing, really.
Oh, yeah, very dashing. Yes. All right, 4 questions, all hockey. Each question is worth 2 points unless you ask for the options. If you get those right, then those questions become worth 1 point. Are you ready, Caleb?
Yep.
Question 1. Name the 2 teams that faced off against each other in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final.
You're going to have to give me the options.
Sure. Blackhawks and Bruins, Bruins and Canucks, or Blackhawks and Flyers?
I'm going to go Blackhawks for sure. We're going to go with A, first one.
Blackhawks and Bruins?
Yeah, sure.
You got it.
All right, Caleb, question 2. Who was the Bruins starting goaltender in that Stanley Cup final?
I'm going to need the options.
Anton Khudobin, Tuukka Rask, or Tim Thomas?
Tim Thomas.
Final answer?
Yep.
On to question 3.
You got it. The Vancouver Canucks beat which team in 5 games in the Western Conference Final that season to send them to the Stanley Cup Final?
The Canucks. Who do the Canucks beat? No idea. Can I have the options?
Sure. The Sharks, the Predators, or the Blackhawks?
Sharks. Let's go Sharks.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right.
Question 4. When Vancouver dramatically beat the Blackhawks in the playoffs that season, it took overtime in Game 7. Who scored the overtime game-winning goal to send Vancouver to the next round?
Can I get the options for that?
Alexandre Burrows, Kevin Biska, or Alexander Edler?
Nailed it.
I honestly just forgot the names you said. That's how little I know.
You're not the only one.
The second one.
What are you going with?
Let's go with the second one.
Okay. We'll just call him B.
All right. We'll bring in Marsh from the Cone of Silence right now. Caleb, I'm not even going to ask you how you're feeling, all right? I could just tell from your voice that you're not happy.
I'm upset that Danny Mack has to listen to this. I wanted to show him what kind of Cardinal baseball guy I was.
Wow, I'm
sorry. What? I'm impressed with your hockey knowledge, believe me. I've been very impressed with what you put together today, to the point that, Marshy, you best be ready.
Okay.
And you better pack a lunch.
Lunch pail, as Dan likes to call it.
Lunch pail, yeah.
What am I supposed to say?
Pack a lunch.
Pack a lunch.
Or now it's read a book.
Read a book.
Yeah.
That's if you lose, though.
That's true.
All right, Marsh. The Wheel of Death chose hockey for Caleb.
I figured it was not baseball after how that last conversation just transpired.
Yeah, Caleb not pleased that it was hockey, but let's see how you do. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Name the 2 teams that faced off against each other in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final.
2011. That would have been the Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks. Final answer.
Question 2, please.
Sure. Who is the Bruins starting goaltender in that Stanley Cup Final?
That would have been Tim Thomas. Final answer.
Question 3. The Vancouver. What's that?
You said question 3, and I said please.
The Vancouver Canucks beat which team in 5 games in the Western Conference Final that season to send them to the Stanley Cup Final?
I believe it was the Chicago Blackhawks, and I think Alex Burrows scored the game winner in overtime. So Blackhawks, final answer.
Well, it does lead us to question 4. When the Vancouver Canucks dramatically beat the Blackhawks in the playoffs that season, it took overtime in Game 7.
You're kidding.
Who scored the overtime game-winning goal to send Vancouver to the next round?
As if he wrote the questions.
I guess you need the options.
No, it's fine. Alex Burrows, final answer.
Okay. All right. Tally him up, and here we go.
Dan, let's go over these, shall we? Name the 2 teams that faced off against each other in the 2011 Stanley Cup Finals. Caleb, you took the options. You went with the Blackhawks and Bruins. Marsh, you didn't need the options. You said Bruins and Vancouver Canucks. Correct answer is
the Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks.
Marsh takes a 2-0 lead over Caleb. Who is the Bruins' starting goaltender in that Stanley Cup Final? Caleb, you said Tim Thomas. Marsh, you said Tim Thomas. Correct answer is
Tim Thomas.
But Marsh did not need the options on this one. Marsh up 4-1 on Caleb. The Vancouver Canucks beat which team in 5 games in the Western Conference Final that season to send them to the Stanley Cup Final? Marsh, you said the Blackhawks. Caleb, you said the Sharks. Correct answer is
the San Jose Sharks.
It was the Sharks who beat them in the final, who Vancouver beat in the final. So Caleb cuts into Marsh's lead at 4-2.
Okay.
Question number 4. When Vancouver dramatically beat the Blackhawks in the playoffs that season, it took overtime in Game 7. Who scored the overtime game-winning goal to send Vancouver to the next round? Marsh, you said Alexandre Burrows. Caleb, you said Kevin Bieksa. Bieksa?
Bieksa.
Excuse me, Bieksa.
Yeah, I said it wrong the first time, and then I realized I said it wrong. Bieksa.
To hell with it. Dan, who actually scored that goal?
Alexander Burrows.
Caleb.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Caleb, you kind of sensed after the Wheel of Death chose hockey for you that you were in for a long gauntlet, and unfortunately, you were right about that. Marsh wins 6-2. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's how my luck goes. So
it's all right. I thought you did a good job, though. Those are tough questions.
You got 2 out of 4.
I got one. Yeah, I was completely wrong on the other one.
I didn't know one of those. I didn't know remotely one of those answers.
Oh, hey, Caleb. Here's the thing, man. You got one right that Marsh didn't.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
That's a good point.
Marsh could have swept the board. He didn't. You got that one question right.
That's a really good point.
Marsh, good job. And I probably would have cut through you like butter if it would have been Cardinal trivia.
Whoa! You know what? You might not be wrong. You sound pretty confident, and I like that. I like somebody who's confident like that.
All right, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to get lucky next time with a better category. But thanks for having me.
There you go.
Well,
thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. All right, that's Caleb here on 101 ESPN. Marsh, nice job. Thank you. Your ability to recall even the minute details.
I did. Well, I got one of them wrong, so
you're disappointed.
A little bit, yeah.
You're a perfectionist. I can see it in your face.
I almost wish that we could have just threw that hockey out. Now that he just said that he would have cut through me like butter,
your competitive fire has been stoked. I like it.
It says here in the 636, way to go, Marshy. Guy wanted to show off for Danny Mac, and you made him leave to the quote, "That's how my life goes."
Yeah.
Nice job, Marshy. You must feel really proud of yourself.
You should have been here last week.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was... With these nice people, I don't know what you want me to do.
They're so nice.
They're very nice. And the nicest ones that get through, Marsh usually treats them the worst.
Nice job, Marsh. Way to get ratings.
Thank you.
Are the Cardinals prepared enough from a rotation standpoint? No.
I thought we had the sports six-pack.
We already did a sports six-pack.
We got question 4 coming up.
Why don't we move the back half to later? You know?
What about like 5?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, 5.
All right, more Cardinals stuff next on 101 ESPN. If you've been feeling not yourself of late, if you've been run down, if you're tired all the time, you can't accomplish certain tasks because you just don't have the energy, then go see Jamie and my friends at Mentality. They will talk to you about how you're feeling. and be honest about them. Be honest about it. If you feel like you don't have the mental focus, your mood's constantly up and down. You're maybe taking it out on other people, and you know that you don't want to do that anymore. You want to be at your best when it comes to work or home. Go see Mentality. They'll put you through the blood panel. They'll talk to you. They'll see what's going on. And if you're low on testosterone, like Jamie and I were, low on, deficient in certain vitamins, they'll put you in a program that's perfect for you and get you back up and running, feeling like yourself in no time. When it comes to working out, when it comes to having the focus and the energy throughout the course of the day, Jamie and I weren't there. That's why we went down to Mentality, and the results have been fantastic. So go down and see them. Tell them Jamie and I sent you in there. 2 locations, one in South County, one in Chesterfield, or visit them at lowtusa.com. It's Mentality.
It's time to fly down to Florida for a spring training report on 101 ESPN.
Presented by E&P Granite, Brooke, Jamie, Curbs, and Bernie Federko's choice for countertops and cabinets.
One of the things that we've talked about throughout the course of the show today, of course, has been the injury to Sonny Gray. We don't know the severity of it, but we're going to talk about it, Dan.
Yes, sir.
You care about your Cardinals. So do we. So we're here for it.
Yes, sir.
Sonny Gray.
Not ideal.
Nope. Headed for an MRI. That was about an hour ago on the right hamstring. He left his start early today due to hamstring tightness. Again, we don't know the severity of it. If he's out for a long time, and hamstring injuries, Dan, they could be fickle. You think you're good, you go back, you run, and all of a sudden you got an issue. And it doesn't have to be a sprint. These pitchers work on their legs all the time. It gives them the stamina and the strength to get through a season. They're constantly working on their legs. So even if he felt good, it's a situation where it can pop up again. Even if it's not a long-term injury, it's not a good look for spring training here. Bad spring training.
Well, for me, the biggest concern going into the season was the health of the rotation, and now you're going to find out your depth. And again, we don't know the severity of what's happening with Sonny Gray, but it's not ideal. As I mentioned, this could push back his timeline. You're going to be really cautious with what he's got to deal with, whether it's a mild hamstring issue or if it's not. I mean, he spent 3 different times on the IL in 2022 because of hamstring issues. So that is of concern. You're going to deal with caution. And so what happens is now his timeline is pushed back. So here we talk on March 4th. End of March, you start your season. You're not that far away. You're a little over 3 weeks away, and that's what would concern me. Now, I know if I'm a fan out there, I'm saying go get Snell, go get Montgomery. You don't know exactly what they're asking for. Bob Nightingale reporting that 4 different teams now have checked in, and this was prior to the situation with Sonny Gray. I think the Cardinals, though, to be honest with you, especially if this isn't an extensive hamstring injury, I think that they feel they're covered, and we'll find out. Now, that's how you hedge your bets. If you felt like Liberatore and Thompson are guys that can get you there, and I know some people are saying, come on, that's not good enough. We'll find out. And I like Zach Thompson, but we're talking about the 6-man rotation to begin the season, where he may fit in. And I keep saying it's just not ideal. You don't want to have this happen this early.
No, definitely not. What you just said, though, plays into what I was talking about earlier with Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery and how the Cardinals have operated under Mo as a risk-averse organization. They're not reactionary. Fans and us and the media tend to be, and we're fans too, tend to be reactionary. Guy gets hurt, go out there, sign one of these 2 guys. And I'd be all for it. If I were running things, I would flip an offer to one of these guys, 2 years, big money, opt out after the first year, so that you could hit free agency again if you want to. That makes sense to me. The Cardinals don't operate that way. Cardinals operate like you just said. They'll operate from a standpoint of, well, we like our internal options, so we'll go that route. Here is the one thing, and I'm not going to defend that line of thinking. I'll add different perspective to it. This is a bridge year, anyways, for your pitching staff. You've got Kyle Gibson on a 1-year deal. You got a Lance Lynn on a 1-year deal. How long does Miles Michaelis have left? 2 years? 2 years. Okay. So he's going into a walk year next year. Matz is going into a walk year next year. You're bridging the gap for 1 more year, and then you're turning the rotation over to a lot of these young guys who are expected to be there. So is this the end-all, be-all for the long term? No. Assuming the internal options are good. Is this the end-all, be-all for the 2024 season? Yeah, it could throw a big wrench in the works. There's no question about it. There's really no debating that. If Sonny Gray is hurt for a while and you're rolling with some of these internal options.
How would you feel if tomorrow they come out and say, you know what, not a big deal, may miss a start, but that'll be it, and we feel that he's going to be just fine?
I'd call them liars and and deal with the real truth of the matter in a couple of weeks.
We were talking earlier. I'd love to be a fly on the wall right now with Scott Boras and talking to these 2 guys and saying,
"Oh, you've been waiting for this.
This is what I got on the table, boys.
Yep,
take it or leave it." We're right in a spot now where we either are going to get some better offers, or we've been waiting for this to happen. We've been waiting for guys to falter or get hurt. Now we're going to get the big money. I just don't see them getting what they initially came into spring training or regular or off season. I don't see them getting close to what they thought they were going to get. When Matt Chapman is getting $54 million with opt-outs, Bellinger getting what he got with opt-outs,
no doubt,
it's not even close to what these guys thought they're going to get.
Nope.
And I assume the same thing's going to happen with Snell and Montgomery.
Yeah, I don't think
that goes back to your point of, why not just make the phone call and see what they have to say?
Yeah, you kind of got leverage on both sides. I didn't really think about it from that standpoint because you're right. Boras has been waiting for a situation 100%. Like this. Oh, your number 1 just got hurt. You don't know the severity of it. I've got 2 guys.
You ready for him? Here we go.
For him? But if you're the Cardinals, you can also say, hey, Bellinger didn't sign for a lot. Chapman didn't sign for a lot. If you like the offers that were coming in, you would have already signed. We'll stick with our internal options, or here's our best offer, and go from there.
Am I too high on Zach Thompson?
No, I like Zach Thompson.
I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I think he's got a chance to be really good. And I would imagine that from the Cardinals' perspective, whether you like it or not, is that they feel he's going to be pretty good too.
This is always a tricky question, but I know you can handle it. What's his ceiling? 3?
Ooh, what do you mean 3? Oh, where he'd fit into the rotation?
Like at his best prime, all that stuff. 3,
2, maybe 3, or 3, maybe 2, I should say.
Sure. So ceiling 2, floor 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and he goes into the part that you were talking about earlier. Beyond this season, he's under control.
Yeah,
he fits in your rotation, and won't be arbitration eligible probably for 2 more years, I believe, with his clock the way it started. I like him. I've always liked him. I think he's got nasty stuff. Apparently, he's worked on some other pitches, but this is not, we're talking about Zach Thompson. This is the loss of Sonny Gray potentially, and you don't know the extent or the severity of it. And, you're talking about being in week 2.5 of spring training, and already one of your guys is going down. This is exactly what we talked about all off season. You signed older guys with the idea that they'd be able to answer the bell every single time. And when this is your top guy, man, it's not ideal at all.
No, not one bit. I will say this, though. I would be kind of excited, and excited might not be the right word, but hopeful. This rotation has long needed internal guys to, take over. I mean, have long needed it.
Yeah.
Sonny Gray is your one for the next 3 years, hopefully, knock on wood. But if they were to move on from some of these veterans and just slowly roll, like next year, you've instead of Gibson and Lynn, or another version of Gibson and Lynn, you have Thompson and McGreevy, or Thompson and whoever, right? Ready to go.
Yep. Tinkins, maybe.
Yeah. At some point, I wouldn't mind seeing a rotation full of all young studs that you grew in this farm system. Is it realistic? I don't know. Or some of these guys that you just acquired in trades last year, as opposed to constantly chasing whatever's left out of certain guys, like Lynn or Gibson or whoever's a free agent next year. I would love, Dan, to see a young, stud-filled rotation that you can kind of grow with.
I think I would too. I love veteran presence in my rotation. Guys that have been there before. And I get it. They're older, but I still like the idea of Lynn and him being in this rotation. Do I like the idea of Gibson and Lynn? Probably not. Mm-hmm. You're asking a lot out of guys that have a ton of mileage on them. Now, I think the way that they were going into this season is that if you sign these guys, they're going to give you innings. And the innings mean then they're going to cover the bullpen and keep them fresh. And I think they've invested a ton in their bullpen to say this could really be a strong suit for our team. Problem with young guys is I don't know what I'm getting. I feel like at least with Gibson, Lynn, Sonny Gray, I've got a pretty good idea, when healthy, what they're going to do. And when you have young guys, I don't know what's going to happen with Zach Thompson. I can sit here and say I love his stuff. I think he's going to be pretty good, but do I really know? No. Does anybody? No. Do they know? No. Because he hasn't been proven. He hasn't been out there to show it. Yeah. So that, to me, if you're going all young guys, that to me sounds like you're rebuilding. A lot of times.
Your mouth. I'm just saying, let's go with a young starting rotation, and
it sounds like a rebuild.
Really kick this thing into high gear.
Yeah.
Nah, I heard it too, Dan.
Yeah, that's a rebuild.
Rebuild with upside. I'd rather rebuild with upside than retool with downside.
You think they're retooling with downside this year?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There's no debating that.
Yes.
Yeah. You're asking a lot of guys to make 25, 30 starts.
Yes.
At 34, 35, and 37 or whatever it is.
You're retooling. I didn't even think about it until right now, Dan. I'm glad you got that out of me. They're retooling. I'd rather rebuild with upside than retool with downside.
All right.
Well, they didn't have a press conference telling us, so.
And they never will.
Here's the thing.
I refuse to believe you.
We may be making more of what's happened with Sonny Gray. It may not be a big deal, but this is the biggest issue that they had going into this season. And they're going to be confronted with that here in 2.5 weeks into the spring training campaign.
No doubt.
Yep.
No Good. Doubt. They need some pushback. I want to see them. How do they respond?
I want to see you suffer.
No, I don't want to see them suffer. I want to see them respond.
All right.
What do they do? How do they combat this? What do the players do? How do they respond? You have a chance.
Marsh, you know the answer.
I know, Anthony. I'm just trying to.
You know the answer to all those questions.
Myself. Come on.
Biggest concern was making sure your rotation stayed healthy.
And now what?
one guy's down.
The guy.
We don't know how long, but he's down.
Oh, he's down.
And that's a concern.
Long time. No, we don't know that. All right, biggest question. Biggest question of the day next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. If you have a leaky roof, an old roof, a damaged roof, a roof that you can't stand to look at, then you got to call my friends at Happy Roof Company because they're going to be out there within 24 hours of when you call to have someone look at your issue. And if you need a new roof, whether it's a commercial roof or a residential roof, the Happy Roof Company, they're fantastic. Superior high-end products, 10-year labor warranty on all shingle roofs, over 50 years combined experience in roofing, siding, and gutters. So you know they're going to be around to honor that warranty that they give you when they replace your roof. Because, again, they've been in business for a long time. Financing options available at the Happy Roof Company. Great relationships with realtors as well. So they give you a detailed inspection report for all real estate transactions. So if you're rehabbing a house and you're putting on a new roof, you get the warranty, and you also have that great relationship between the Happy Roof Company and realtors. A-plus rating with the BBB, expert field supervisors, excellent project communication. Give them a call at 314-665-3001. Again, 314-665-3001. Tell them Stalter sent you, or visit them at thehappyroof.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues taking on the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Pregame starts at 5 o'clock. Puck drop is at 6. Of course, you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. The Blues are looking for another victory as they defeated the Minnesota Wild over the weekend by a final score of 3-1. Once again, Blues Flyers tonight right here on 101 ESPN. City SC defeated New York City FC 2-0 over the weekend. A strong start for City SC. And the Cardinals, they did not win today. They took on the Washington Nationals, lost 1-0. Sonny Gray was removed from the game with a hamstring injury. We've been talking about that all day long. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
With Dan McLaughlin and Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh with the biggest question of the day.
All right, so I had a question in mind. However,
I forgot it.
No, I did not forget it. I just read the text line, though, and I think this question is just a lot more interesting. So I'm going to get to it from the 636.
Good tease.
Do you think that Scott Boras loses any credibility with players he represents based on this offseason? Bellinger and Chapman both signed for a lot less money than expected, and Montgomery and Snell are still unsigned. I know he has an extensive track record to lean on, but really seems like he missed with these players this offseason, at least so far.
I think you'd say he misread the market.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. When those guys, when he said or felt like they were going to get a lot more money than that, he misread it. And by misreading, now the contracts he got for these guys with the opt-outs that they have, that's pretty good. I mean, opt out after year 1, year 2, and then if not, it's, $85, $90 million or whatever it was. Bellinger was 80. And I'm sure with his pitchers, he's saying, hold on, guys. Wait for the injury to happen. Wait for ineffectiveness. Wait for these things to happen, and you're going to have a crack at it. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're too far down the road to where that's gone, and you're going to have to settle for something. And does it hurt his credibility? Maybe a little bit, but his track record is so good, and you're going to have to deal with him so many times because he has so many of the best players. Could be just a blip on the radar.
Yeah, that last part is where I go. If you have a track record of success, and Boras has a long track record of success, are you going to hold the one off season against him because it's the most recent, or are you going to look at the entire body of work and trust that he'll make the adjustments going into next off season if you become his client?
Let me ask you this question for both of you guys. If you were free agents in baseball and you wanted to be represented by somebody, even with this offseason, and you're a top free agent, even with the offseason he's had, who do you want?
I want Boras.
I want Scott Boras, too.
Yeah.
Well, considering I don't really know any of the other agent names, I'd probably go with Scott Boras. I probably want to pick the guy that Freddie Freeman ended up having to get rid of based on that whole situation. Maybe I just represent myself.
Lamar kind of did that.
Caleb Williams has talked about doing that.
Yeah.
Having a family member do that. Okay. There's been examples of that.
I mean, you could just get a lawyer, right, to handle the contract situation and negotiate for yourself. I wouldn't want to, but
I think Ken Griffey Jr. had a friend of his that was a lawyer, very close family friend of his in particular, but essentially look over the contract and make sure that legalese was handed, and he was said, hey, we're going to give you this for that, this many years, and he agreed to it, and then the legalese took over, and he got a portion of it, but it wasn't like you're giving 4% of $110 million to that particular agent that decided to pull the trigger on the deal.
Especially, too, I mean, if you're more agreeable as a player,
I agree.
I want to be here. What's the fair market value?
Oh, you want to be here? We'll sign you.
Yeah. This is where I lose in like negotiations.
Yeah.
But if you are more agreeable, you could say you're maybe you're leaving money on the table by not having an agent, but how much are you actually gaining because you just go with a lawyer on a monthly rate?
Exactly.
Or an hourly rate, excuse me.
Or just pay him a lump sum.
Yeah.
Just say, here
I'm
you
gonna
go.
Do this,
and we're done.
You check over this, make sure that I'm not getting screwed or there's any loophole that is unnormal. Make sure you got me covered here, and I have you on retainer.
And I think, though, we're bypassing all the different things that an agent does for a player. So it's not just getting the deal and the contract, but it's the relationships that an agent has with other agents or other players or front office personnel in particular. So your guy wants out. Let me find out. Okay, I'll call this GM and the GM you work for, and we'll figure something out. Right. I mean, so the relationship part of this is a huge asset for the player as well with an agent. And Scott Boras, the other thing that he does, he's got a massive compound for these players. You want the best psychologist? We got it. You want the best workout facility? We got it. You want Driveline? We got it. We got everything. We're a one-stop shop for you that the agent can play for that player. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and I wonder how much this is on the owners and the front offices of some of these teams. Like, I just feel like we're at a point right now where they look at teams like the Mets, they look at the Padres, they look at a lot of these teams that spend a lot of money, and they did not win. So they're probably like, I don't really want to pay this guy. Like, I'm good. Like, we're good. Right. And if his number goes down, which it has, maybe then we float an offer out to him. Or you get a team that's desperate. Are the Cubs desperate? I feel like maybe a little bit. They needed Cody Bellinger.
I thought they needed Matt Chapman, too.
Yeah.
Could have.
Boy, at that price, you probably could have both.
$54 million for that guy?
Yeah, no kidding. And he's got opt-outs each year.
Yeah.
All right. The Giants have been kind of good with that. Hey, we'll bring you in. We'll give you some opt-outs. So
the Giants have had, of all the teams, in my opinion, a sneaky, really good offseason.
Yeah, they brought in the one center fielder from the international market who apparently he's got zero power, but he gets on base like all the time.
Jorge Soler.
They got Soler recently.
Jordan Hicks.
Chapman
is another one.
And they've got two young guys. They got Logan Webb as their ace, and then Kyle Harrison's probably going to be their number two. Another guy that came up through the organization. So they've got some decent young pitching.
The happiest guy in San Francisco is Logan Webb, who gets ground ball after ground ball, and you're going to be on the left side of the infield with Matt Chapman.
Yeah, no kidding.
Gold Glover, one of the best in the business.
Yeah. And
they gave away. Yeah, so Marciano.
Yes.
So he was. They looked at Brandon Crawford and said, we're going to give way to this 21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And they have another one that's coming, too, that they like, that they feel will be very good defensively. But, yeah, it's really interesting. Has the shine worn off a little bit with Scott Boras? I think you could say it has in this offseason because he's just not getting the money that he thought he was going to get.
Marco Luciano. Yep, there you go.
So, Anthony, you said that 1 year doesn't change the overall
You're going to throw the Cardinals at me?
Well, I mean, it sounded very similar. Just seeing where your head's at.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Am I a hypocrite? Yes.
That's okay.
If you're a GM of any of these teams, you're at least checking in with Scott Boras.
You have to.
Absolutely.
Every day or every other day and just saying, okay, where are you at? You know, what's going on? You know, here's our offer. Does that intrigue you at all?
Right.
And if it does, let's start negotiating.
So we got Bet the Board, 3 stars of the day, criticisms, compliments next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. miss anything from today's show, you can download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. All brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Time to bet the board here in the fast lane. Dan, I know you just like playing as it is. You
for
don't
my
have to,
friends.
Yeah, you don't have to select anything for either Carey or Jamie because they actually literally sent in their picks this time. We're not joking about that.
Okay,
They did.
good.
But Dan, go ahead, throw out your play.
Number 9, Duke against NC State, and the line is Duke -6.5. I'm going to take the Duke Blue Devils.
Done. Nice job.
Put it down there.
There you go. Duke walloped somebody over the weekend.
Yeah, and amazingly, they had all kinds of physical comebacks after the Wake Forest stomping on the court. And just amazingly, these guys came back and were efficient physically.
Who did they beat?
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I remember seeing a couple of
Virginia.
dunks. That's who it was. Yep.
I saw the score is like 40-18 at half. I'm like, you're taking out some anger.
Have you noticed that no one is really playing defense right now in college basketball? Really, basketball all told in NBA and men's college basketball. Some of these numbers are incredible.
Some of these halftime scores are like 42-40.
Yeah.
I think that was literally the score for Alabama and Tennessee.
Yes,
over the weekend.
I think it was too.
At halftime. All right, Marsh, what do you got? Or if you want to read off Jamie and Carey's, you can do that too.
Yeah. So actually, me and Carey were the only two that won over the weekend.
Nice job, kid.
Yeah, the whole 16.5 points. I mean, that was a tough look on Friday, but it ended up working. Carey has the Clippers +3.5 tonight
against the Bucks,
which I mean they destroyed who do they play? It was a game that I had. Oh, the Wizards.
The Clippers did?
Yeah, the Clippers destroyed the Wizards.
They won yesterday, too, in Minnesota.
They did. And that Minnesota team's pretty good, too. So
they're very good, yeah.
So Carey has the Clippers at +3.5, and Jamie has the Maple Leafs over the Bruins tonight.
And did you say yours?
I have not said mine.
All right, go for it.
Mine is the Blues Flyers over 1.5 goals in the first period. So total over 1.5.
I like that. I was gonna go Maple Leafs as well over the Bruins. The struggling
you can still
Bruins.
do that, can't you?
No, Jamie took them, and hey, we played by the rules here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of follow Dan's lead in college basketball. I'm gonna take the other ranked team tonight. I'm gonna take Baylor. They're laying 7.5 against Texas. So
I like that.
Baylor as a home favorite in Waco, 7.5 against Texas. And there's bet the board. And Marsh, after you're done entering our stuff there, go ahead with your criticisms and compliments. Excuse me, as I burp on live air. I was reaching for the cough button, and I missed it.
So we have one from the 636. My compliment is for all three of you gentlemen. Had a great afternoon grilling some steaks and drinking some man sodas, listening to the Fast Lane. Great show as always.
Nice, thank you.
Weather right now is grilling weather.
Heck yeah.
Although I think we're supposed to get a little rain tonight, but still.
That's all right.
I played golf yesterday, and it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it was very windy.
It was unbelievable.
I was playing outside with the kids, and there was some wind issues in our backyard sports extravaganza.
Were you playing catch with anything? Because the wind could take it right into little Johnny's face.
I had my son pitching.
Oh, nice.
And I put him with the wind, and it added a couple of miles, a couple of MPHs there to his throws. Yep.
I like it.
Are you guys ready for the 3 stars of the day?
Always.
Our third star of the day is going to go out to the Denver Broncos for getting rid of, or at least about to get rid of, Russell Wilson. That was a tough 2 years for that organization, but looks like they're going to prevail.
Dan, I read this to you. They are going to pay Wilson $39 million fully guaranteed next year. They are also going to absorb over $80 million in dead cap money over the next 2 seasons.
It's $85
million in dead cap money. And as you pointed out, they also
gave up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick as well.
Wow.
So he got $120 million in cash for 30 regular season games.
That was one of the worst trades in sports history.
Yeah. It's going to go down that way.
Yeah.
Because of the money.
Ineffectiveness.
Draft picks. Didn't get along with your
Seahawks.
coach.
Yeah, right. You're a goofball the entire time. Geno Smith worked out for the Seahawks without
honestly,
issue.
it's going to go down as one of the worst deals ever in NFL history.
Bob.
Our second star of the day goes to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
breaking records.
Historic performance for her over the weekend. Fantastic. Good for you.
But the first star has to go to a guy that's sitting right in this room.
Oh, Anthony, you deserve it.
No way.
It's not Anthony.
No.
Never will be.
Nope.
Danny Mac, first star.
And filling in.
Feels good, I got to tell you. Feels really good.
You were even pulled in early.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jamie's remote unit did not work.
Right.
So the first 2 to 2:15, I got here early to prep, which is not really prep. I just went in to go talk to Mike Ryder. And so I got here early and was able to fill in a little earlier. So that was fun. And now we have Blues hockey coming up.
Yes, we do.
Do my favorite part of the show. You know I love that.
It's anytime, Dan. You know that.
Here it comes.
Blues and Flyers pregame at 5 o'clock. So you got Blues hockey coming up right now. For Andrew Marsh, Dan McLaughlin, I'm Anthony Stalter.
Here it comes.
See ya.
Yeah.
Need a car and you don't want to break the bank for it? Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, that's got to be your spot. That's where we got our pre-owned Pathfinder that we love. We love the space from it. We love the deal that we got, and it was all courtesy of Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. They've got the best financing department that you're going to find out of any dealership. They'll finance the vehicle for you, whether you have good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. And they're going to finance the vehicle for you at a monthly payment that you probably thought was impossible. They'll also give you a 30-day return promise. They're so confident that you'll love the experience and love the vehicle that they'll still give you a 30-day window to bring the vehicle back under any circumstances, and they'll refund the vehicle for you. They also have the free lifetime complimentary warranty that comes with new Nissans. So when it comes to Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, they take care of you from sale to service. Start at AutoCentersNissan.com, peruse the 700-plus vehicles that they have there, and then when you head down to Herculaneum, tell them Stalter sent you. Test drive the vehicle, and they'll set you up. It's Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum.